Today, the Hawkeye State has gathered the stars of IndyCar. Led by points leader Dario Franchitti, he's won both times he's tried here, as well as Texas winner Ryan Briscoe and Texas runner-up Danica Patrick. The heat is on at Iowa Speedway. It's a scorching afternoon in America's heartland, where in less than 45 minutes, drivers will take the green flag on stop number 8 of the IZOD IndyCar Series, the Iowa Corn Indy 250, presented by Pioneer. Among the thousands of fans here, fathers enjoying their day out at the track, maybe sons taking dads, or dads bringing sons and daughters out for their first race. Who knows, maybe starting a tradition that will carry over for years to come. Welcome to IndyCar Central, where we will set the stage for this afternoon's 250-lap race. And from our Versus stage on pit road, I am Lindy Thaxton. First of all, we want to wish all the dads out there a happy Father's Day. Of course, I'm going to say happy Father's Day to my dad, John Hartnett, and my grandpa, James Spencer. Well, listen, we have possible weather coming in here, so the race is going to start early. So stick with us. We are in hurry-up mode here. And dads, we'd like to say we're going to give you a nice, relaxing afternoon, but that's just not going to happen here. This is the tightest oval that we have. It's 7/8 of a mile long. You get around this thing in 17 seconds. With 25 cars side by side. I have to warn you, you're probably going to be on the edge of your seats here. Well, this is the 4th oval race in a row, and the final one before drivers move on to a summer stretch of road and street courses in July and August. But we still have not forgotten about the Texas race 2 weeks ago, a race that saw Ryan Briscoe battle Danica Patrick for the victory and become the 6th different driver to win 7 races this season.
Here's the battle. Danica Patrick on the low side. Ryan Briscoe on the high side. They almost touch. Briscoe will nose in front.
Just 21 laps to go. Danica Patrick is pedaling as hard as she can, but it's not going to be to much avail. Briscoe started from pole and wasn't denied. Ryan Briscoe wins for the first time this year.
This is unbelievable. You know, I wasn't sure about my car after warm-up last night, and we made a lot of changes, so this one goes to my engineer, Eric. Great job today giving me a car that was just so good all day long.
And Ryan Briscoe joins us up here on the stage, and you had a little bit of a rough start to the season, and then things have started to pick up. A lot of people talk, oh, momentum's great. I mean, do you really feel it?
Well, you know, a win does wonders, and the win in Texas meant so much. It was a huge jump for me in the championship and a huge boost of confidence for myself and the whole team. So hopefully we can carry some momentum now, but it was only one race, and I really haven't started the season the way I would have liked to. But now I moved up the points. I'm 5th in the points, just 3 out of 4th and 38 out of 1st, and it made such a big difference. And all of a sudden I'm feeling back in the game again, and, you know, hopefully I can back that up with another good race today.
Well, speaking of that, what pressure comes along with driving for one of the best teams out there?
Well, there are definitely high expectations, you know, and you are expected to win, and all 3 of us at Team Penske have won races this year, so, you know, the team is definitely on their game. You know, the preparation that's gone into this season over the off-season has been tremendous. We have a long off-season, but the guys haven't had a day off, and it's just been flat out all the time, and, you know, the results are showing, and it's just such a great honor to drive for this team.
Well, Ryan, good luck today, and we will let you get back to getting ready.
Thanks a lot.
Let's go to Robbie Floyd. He has Dario Franchitti, and Robbie, he's not had a bad time here at this track.
You're exactly right. 2 wins at this track in the 2 times you attempted it. But Ryan was talking about momentum. You're on a kind of a streak yourself. A win at the 500, then the 5th place, and taking the points lead.
Yeah, I think winning at Indy always gives you good momentum, no doubt about it. You know, last week in Texas, the team target car wasn't that good in traffic. It was good up front, but when we got back in traffic, we're in trouble. So to end up with a 5th wasn't too bad, but we're hopeful we can do a little bit better here in Iowa today.
How comfy is the car?
Well, It's a relative term, isn't it? It's not bad. It's not bad. Looking at other people, I think we're in not too bad shape. Our qualifying pace obviously wasn't what we needed, but I think we've got a good race car, but we'll find out in about 250 laps.
Is it a certain feel you have to have winning both of your races here? Do you have that feel, or have you just had good cars?
There's a certain feel you need, a certain balance you need from the car, and I think we've got it. The wind's changed 180 degrees, so that should make it interesting. But yeah, between that, good pit stops from the Target boys, good strategy, and if I do my job today, we'll be in with a shout.
The winds have changed. Jack Arute, you were the man who's second in points to Dario Franchitti.
And Robbie, as much as Dario Franchitti is undefeated on the oval here at Iowa, the guy that's starting from the pin, Will Power, you have never started an oval race ever in your entire career from P1.
Yeah, it's a new experience for me, so hopefully I can keep it up front all day. I want to see that Verizon car in victory lane. I mean, my first oval victory would be fantastic.
A lot of talk throughout the course of qualifying and prep for this race that the fine line, the balance you have to find between downforce and lack thereof to keep the car down low on the racetrack. Which way did you guys go?
I'd be pretty sure that everyone's gone downforce because, the tyres go off pretty badly because, you're punishing pretty hard around here. So that's our strategy, but we're not going to say how much.
Lindy, basically, if he told me, he'd have to kill me.
We hear that all the time, Jack. Well, with Will Power's pole position, this is the 7th consecutive pole for Team Penske. They've won 3 races. Will Power won at St. Pete, Ryan Briscoe won at Texas, and Elio Castroneves won at Barber Motorsports Park. Well, let's take a look at the points as they stand as we head into Iowa. With his 5th place finish in Texas, Dario Franchitti did take over the overall points lead from Will Power. And with his win, Ryan Briscoe moved up 2 positions to 5th in points, while Ryan Hunter-Ray dropped out of the top 5. In the A.J. Foyt Trophy standings for the top oval driver, Dario leads his Ganassi teammate Scott Dixon by 11 points and Briscoe by 29. Andretti Autosport teammates Danica Patrick and Marco Andretti, you can see they're tied for 4th. Will Power continues to lead the road point standings with a sizable margin over Penske teammate Elio Castroneves. The first of 5 road and street races in a row begins July 4th at Watkins Glen. That's also where they will announce the name of that trophy. Well, all the cars are gridded behind me, as you can see. Well, wait a minute, not all of them. One of them, the number 9 car, is missing back there. The car is in the garage. Scott Dixon, he's starting second today. The team feverishly working on that car. We will update this story as the afternoon goes along. Well, when we come back, we'll talk to Tony Kanaan, who has led laps here in each of the last 2 races in Iowa, only to suffer disappointment.
We have a crash, the 7-Eleven machine of Tony Kanaan up against the turn 3 wall. The guy who was running second in points, Tony Kanaan, big damage.
4th race this year now that Tony Kanaan has led, but he has not yet won. Take a look as Dan Weldon has the rookie Hideki Muto. Oh, the slide by 3rd place. And Tony Kanaan, for the 2nd year in a row, all alone, goes into the turn 2 wall.
Tony Kanaan is out in front.
This is the first set of new tires for Tony Kanaan.
We've got a problem in turn number 2.
Tony Kanaan has crashed for the 3rd year in a row here at Iowa, just after making his pit stop.
It stepped out of me. I mean, I think this corner has been a problem the last 3 years, and I feel bad for the 7-Eleven guys. I mean, we've been struggling with so many crashes lately that this one's probably was my fault.
Welcome back to Iowa. I'm with Craig Floss, the CEO of the Iowa Corn Growers Association. A big part of Iowa is corn. Glad to have you as a part of this race.
Well, it's great to be here, and thanks for having us. Corn is clearly a big part of Iowa. 25% of Iowa's agriculture, or actually 25% of Iowa's economy, revolves around all things agriculture, and corn is a significant part of that. And this event here at the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer, it is the premier corn event, the premier ethanol event. Ever since the IndyCar started going in 2007 to 100% fuel-grade ethanol, we've had an outstanding reception, not only from the drivers, but consumers alike. And this is a great place for us to have a platform to talk about ethanol and what it means for our economy, for energy independence, for the environment, etc.
We're glad to have you here. And these are the children of the corn and also race fans.
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. Possible weather rolling in, so we have bumped this race up a little bit, so stick with us. It is starting here shortly. Well, last December, baby Michaela was born, and Elio Castroneves became the latest of quite a few IZOD IndyCar Series drivers to experience the emotions of fatherhood. But 2 weeks ago, Elio and several other drivers experienced a totally different set of emotions at Texas Motor Speedway, and they were not exactly warm and fuzzy.
Elio Castroneves and Mario Marias.
Bertrand Baguette that went right through the middle there. You hold your line when you come off. The spotter should have said, hey, he's back there. He's at your right rear.
Elio will have a word with Mario Marias. Perhaps preach a little patience.
What did you say to Mario Marias after that crash?
I don't think I'll be able to speak that on TV. I'm like, what are you doing? Certainly I did not have a radio, so I was always running outside to make sure that I have everything covered. I'm sorry, but Mario, I don't think he has a little bit of that perception.
Oh, I was looking at the car in front of me. You know, he's Elio Castroneves. He never makes any mistakes. Someday he needs to make some mistakes as well, you know.
Mona Di Silvestro slammed the wall pretty hard. The car broke loose on her. The safety crew is now on hand, and they're going to have to do a quick job getting that car put out.
Man, having just all kinds of difficulty.
You need to get the head restraint out, but it was binding.
It's a shame for the team because we really improved the car. And it's a little bit burned because of the fire. Couldn't get out quickly enough, but feel okay and ready to go to the next race.
Danica Patrick cut off Tony Kanaan big time into 3, and TK backs up 3 or 4 spots. You can bet he's not going to forget about that.
When your best finish is a second place and you try to take it as a victory, that's what happened. You know, a couple of the dirtiest moves I've ever seen in my life, but what goes around comes around. I'm pretty confident what I can do, so you want to pull moves like that, that's fine now. We have plenty of ovals left.
What do you expect? It was Texas. You saw Elio Castroneves with his displeasure with Mario Marias. Let's dispense with that very quickly. Have you had a conversation with Mario?
Not really. I think we both understand what happened, and there is not much to talk about. We got to turn the page, move on, and we're in a totally different weekend. So right now, we just got to focus on this, have a great start. We can't wait for to be out there.
Let's talk a little bit about the differences between what we saw at Texas and what you guys are going to have to tackle here. What's your biggest concern?
Well, certainly here, traffic is going to be extremely important. When we're doing 17 seconds a lap, that shows that probably lap 5 or lap 10, we're going to be hitting traffic, especially the guys in front. So you're going to be careful. You gotta make sure you use your mind, your strategy. So hopefully with those combinations, and you have a radio as well, hopefully with those combinations you'll be able to be fine.
Elio, for the first time in your career, you come into this day as a father.
That's right, man.
How's it feel?
First of all, happy Father's Day to everyone, including my dad over there. So, man, it's a special feeling. I mean, Michaela's here. It's fantastic. I just woke up this morning. She had a little card with me. I'm like, yeah, my first Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you as well, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's check in with my counterpart on pit road for more of the Texas action. Here's Robbie Floyd.
Tony Kanaan in an eventful Texas race, finishing in 6. You said you would have some words with Danica. How did that go?
Oh, we hadn't had a chance yet, but I think
it's been a week, Tony. Tell me the truth.
No, it is. We haven't talked about that. I mean, we know, I think everybody's over. You know, what happens, and we've been working towards the Iowa setup, and we put 2 cars in the top 10. I mean, we had a little bit of eventful qualifying yesterday, but everything is cool.
Reflecting back, what happened yesterday?
We're being too greedy. I went for everything, trying to get the best out of the car. I think we're too skimpy in downforce, and I couldn't run the bottom, and that cost me a lot of lap time.
So a guy that was running heavy fuel, old tires, was running faster than his qualifying yesterday. That should mean for a great race car today.
Thanks, Robbie. Well, you heard TK's side of the story. When we come back, we'll hear what Danica Patrick has to say and talk about her second-place run at Texas. Stick with us here at Iowa Speedway.
It's about to go down.
Danica Patrick working that low line, coming off of turn number 4 through the quad oval here, trying to chase down Dario Franchitti. She and Ryan Briscoe, our pole sitter, will battle into turn number 2.
I just have really my own expectation levels of what I want to happen out there and what I think I can do as a driver.
Danica Patrick has had a flawless evening. Right now she comes in running a car that has not been adjusted all night. Good stop for Danica.
Danica Patrick looks like she's going to have an opportunity to get Ryan Briscoe as they head into turn number 3. Patrick pulls up on the 6 car. She will flash by on the high side. Here's the side-by-side battle off of 4. Danica Patrick as she will take
you get down to the end of the race, it is what it is. You know, you should be probably comfortable with your car at least, and you know, at least in a position where you can push it and just, you know, finish the race as very strong as you can.
They almost touch in the exit in turn number 2. Side by side, the drag race down the back straightaway.
Briscoe on nose in front as they head into turn number 1.
And the margin of victory over Danica Patrick, 1.4 seconds.
We hit it this weekend, and you know, I'm just really happy to put the GoDaddy car in a position where people are watching it and noticing it, and everybody did a really good job tonight.
Danica Patrick had an amazing Texas race. The crowd was on their feet. You had to be feeling it as well, but you were angry when that race was over with second place. That's what I like seeing.
Well, you know, the never enough attitude kicks in, and you know, if I would have, you know, somebody said I would have been second when the night was over with, I said we're probably going to have a pretty good day, and you know, to get to the point where you're out in front and then to lose it is the tough part. So you get that close to a win, and they're hard to come by. So, but everybody did a really good job. We're all really excited coming from Texas, and you know, we've had a tough time here at Iowa. We kind of pulled it together for qualifying. I put my foot down and said, whatever happens, happens. And thank goodness, because it really moved us up those last couple laps getting flat.
I want to look back to Texas, though. You're focused on the win. You only have one driver in front of you. And looking back at the video, maybe came down a little bit on TK, and he was visibly upset at the end of the race. Did you see that?
I'm up next.
I'll walk with you.
You know, I was behind Dixon, and you know, he was trying to make room where there wasn't really room.
All right, guys, this is live television, so now we'll follow Danica Patrick as she literally crosses the stage. Kevin, the cameraman's the only guy that really has the toughest job, but you were seeing it one way, Danica. Let's go ahead and talk to her as we work our way down here, and then we'll hop into the truck. But more focused on the race ahead than what was happening behind you?
You know, yeah, I was looking forward, and I knew I needed to maintain my position. I was up there in the front lead group, and you know, we just needed to maintain and stay up there. So, you know.
Joe Barbieri from Firestone, the terrific move. I believe 10K she's getting handed here, $10,000 check. Don't try and cash that. Actually, it doesn't work. She told me, guys, just a minute ago that yesterday in qualifying, Lindy, that she was really just one of them moments, those epiphanies. She said, it's either going to stick or it's not. I told him about, you said it's going to stick or it's not. You made that decision. You could have crashed just as easily as you could have qualified where you were.
Yeah, that's what I came in and told my engineers, just that, you know, thanks, guys, that, you know, I could have just as easily, you know, spun and hit the wall, but it stuck, and you know, I think it was good to put it out there in no man's land in my mind and see what it did, and I think we learned from that, and I think we're going to have a better car for it today.
After that second place in Texas, Lindy, she's looking for bigger things today, earn her win.
Robbie, one thing to keep in mind about Danica Patrick here at Iowa Speedway as you take a look at some of her stats. She did lead 24 laps here 1 year ago. On Wednesday, the Indy Racing League released a statement after their inquiry into the fiery crash at Texas Motor Speedway that left Simona Di Silvestro and 2 rescue workers with minor burns. Brian Barnhart, president of competition and racing operations, was quoted as saying, "What happened at Texas was a result of human error, and we will work diligently to prevent this in the future. The safety of our teams, drivers, and officials on the racetrack remains our #1 priority." For more, here's Jack Arute.
Lindy, basically what happened is what could go wrong would go wrong. Now, let's go back to when Simona Di Silvestro first hit the wall. You can see the fiery flame. In essence, located in this right side pod is this oil tank. Now, this is the oil tank that actually got dislodged while the engine was still running. During the course of that, all of the oil, 5 gallons, was pumped out into that right side pod, and that oil fire was fueled and flamed into what we saw and what we thought was very, very scary. Now, when the safety crew gets there, what I want you to do is pay attention to the crew, because they're adhering to the proper protocol. One man goes directly to the driver while the rest of the team starts to unfurl the water hose. This is the same water hose that they used that night. But here's what happened. It is stacked in the front bumper in this manner. As the team started to pull it out this way, and as they charged it with the water, just like happens to me and you sometimes when we got our garden hose, it was kinked down at the inlet. Heretofore, the inlet where the pump was beneath the bumper in this fashion. The fix here, Lindy, they've now moved it so it comes out straight. So when you pull the hose, better opportunity for no kinks.
Good information, Jack. Thank you so much for that. And obviously, we're so glad to see Simona and those 2 rescue workers back in action here at the track at Iowa Speedway. Last night here, the Indy Lights cars took to the track. Let's take a look at the highlights from last night. Sebastian Saavedra was pole position, and he led the pack to the green flag there. But watch this. First lap, turn 2. There you see Charlie Kimball into the wall there, and his day was done. The 26 car being taken away right there. And then a little bit later on, Gustavo Jacobin in the number 10 car, he was running fourth. You see him get high and hit the wall there. His day done as well. Sebastian Saavedra takes the checkered flag. He led from the start all the way to the finish. Coming in right after him, Martin Plowman. And then in third spot, J.K. Fournet. And here is where the points stand. As we leave Iowa Speedway with Indy Lights, J.K. Fournet in the number 1 spot, followed by Charlie Kimball, James Hinchcliffe, Sebastian Saavedra, and then Martin Plowman rounds out the top 5. Well, guess what? The number 9 car still in the garage being worked on. When we come back, we will talk to Scott Dixon and get an update on what's going on. Stick with us. We'll see you in a second. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. Lots of fans out here, and we've actually moved the race up a little bit because some possible weather is coming in, so stick with us. It starts here shortly. Right now, though, let's turn our attention to this week's National Guard hometown hero, Sergeant Andrew Barton. Sergeant Barton entered the National Guard in 2003 as a firefighter, and then in 2006, he reclassed as a combat medic. He recently served in Iraq, where his main duty was to oversee the care of more than 4,000 detainees and coalition soldiers. For his service, Sergeant Barton was awarded with the Army Achievement Medal and the National Defense Service Medal. And he is this week's National Guard hometown hero. And as we mentioned, today is Father's Day, as you probably know, and Dad is being honored along the pit wall of the number 24 Dad's Root Beer car for Dreyer and Reinbold. As you know, Graham Rahal's in that car this weekend. On this Father's Day, there are 2 drivers in the field whose fathers have their own IndyCar legacies. Obviously, Graham, as we just mentioned, his father Bobby won the '86 Indy 500, as well as 3 open-wheel championships. And then Marco Andretti, who drives for his father, Michael, winner of 42 career races. Both drivers have 1 IndyCar victory on their resume, and both are standing by with Jack Arute.
And let's start with Graham first, because Graham, as Lindy was saying, I mean, this is second generation. You followed in Dad's footsteps. We've talked a lot about the pressures or lack thereof. When you look at this Father's Day, how does it affect the way you go about things?
Well, I mean, it's always, unfortunately, Dad's not here today, but it's always a lot of fun, to celebrate a day like this. I'm lucky my grandfather's here, my uncle, so a lot of people within the family are here to hang out and watch the race. And, it has a big effect on us because really we're doing, myself and Marco really following in what our dads did for so long. And obviously it's kind of cool this weekend having dads as my sponsor, so it all kind of fits perfectly.
Marco, his dad may not be here, but your dad is your boss. What's that like?
Well, I better win because I forgot to get him something for Father's Day. So I think that'd be the best gift I can give him. So that's what we're going to try to do.
Good luck to the both of you. Lindy?
Here with Scott Dixon. And Scotty, it was a close call. The guy's just literally wheeling the car up here. What happened?
I'm not really sure. Nobody's really told me yet. I think we had some sort of a fuel issue, maybe a leak or something. But, the number 9 guys definitely worked their heart out with some of the addition of the 10 car guys. So definitely a huge thanks to them for getting the car fixed because we were having some big problems there.
Literally a couple minutes before the start. It has to get into your head going, am I even going to be out there?
Yeah, it does. You just got to try and stay calm and hopefully, they do what they do best and they have. And we're on the grid here, so looking good for Team Target.
Calm down, breathe, get ready for the race.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Scotty. Lindy?
Thank you, Robbie. And when IndyCar Central continues on Versus, Professor B probes into a matter that could have a big impact on pit road. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. We are less than 15 minutes to the green flag for today's race. And just a reminder, for more info on the IZOD IndyCar Series, including track profiles, blogs, and my personal favorite, This Week in Indy with Lindy, just log on to versus.com. Let's go back to the Indy 500 for a second. Do you remember Will Power was having a great day, then he pulls into the pits, and then they have major problems with the fuel probe? You saw it right there. Well, guess what? Professor B has an update on something that could help ensure that happens less and less on pit road.
A pit stop can never be any faster
than your slowest task. Now, typically, that's going to be fuel flow. Now, even though this flows at a whopping 3.5 gallons per second, if you have to put 22 gallons in the car, that's just over 6 seconds. Now, the air jack and tire changers can easily beat that. That means it puts the pressure on the fueler. Now, an experienced fueler can hit his position, oftentimes while the car is actually still rolling, but he's also going to be the last one done. So if there's ever a miscue on pit lane and the car gets sent early, obviously it's a very dangerous situation that could cause a fire or running over your fueler. So for the first time here in Iowa, it is required that all of the cars have a proximity sensor located here where the fuel probe goes in. And when you put the fuel probe into position, it takes the car out of gear into neutral and will not allow the car to go back into gear until the fuel probe is completely clear of the car itself. Also, some of the teams have taken one more step. When this is in position, it turns lights on or off on the dashboard so the driver knows exactly when it can get back into first gear. Now, here in Iowa, only the sensors are mandatory. The actual gear selection will be a race or two. They want to have one more race to test it. But when it happens, the pit stops might be just slightly slower, but it'll be a huge step forward as far as safety.
And the fans will see 3 or 4 fuel stops if the race goes the distance today. Professor B, Robbie Buell, and I are trained professionals. We choose words very carefully to paint a picture of what's happening on the racetrack for those of you who are watching on TV. Here's an example from Texas 2 weeks ago.
Talk about momentum. He's on it. Oh, man. I'm just going to hand you a popsicle, Dan. Here I am. There she goes. Look at that split. Wow.
Yeah, he drew. Watch this. Briscoe and Dixon. See what I mean? Bob Jenkins with Robbie Yan here in the booth. Well, we're on an oval today, the 4th one in a row, but boy, they've all been different, Jan.
They have. If you look at the last 3, the setups are completely different. At Indy, you had the little speedway wings and flat corners. Then you go to Texas, high bank, where you're trying to get the downforce off. Then, Robbie, you come here, you run speedway tires and speedway speed, but you do it with big road course wings and heavy downforce.
It is. And for this racetrack, I mean, it's a short oval, but it's just like a super speedway in terms of the speeds and the loads. The one thing about this place, it is twice the downforce of Texas. So what does that mean to the driver? It's very physical to turn that wheel, first of all, and then you're turning more than you're going straight around this racetrack. And imagine this, getting around here in 17-second laps. There's also some bumps these guys need to navigate in turns 1 and 2. Makes for a really exciting combination.
Yeah, we definitely have seen 2 abreast racing when they're practicing earlier in the weekend, so it should be a very, very entertaining day. Well, happy Father's Day to both of you. And, you know, when I think of Father's Day, I recall a kart race back in 1986. It was in Portland, Oregon. We flash back to, now watch Michael Andretti there in the blue and yellow car. He's trying to get fuel. He's running out. He's the leader. Here comes Mario. Father, he nips his son at the line. Mario beat Michael, and it was the only lap that Mario led the entire day in Portland, Oregon in 1986. Well, Marco's team is getting ready for his race here today at Iowa Speedway. We're just a few minutes away from the command to start the engines. Stay with us for more on Versus.
The story.
There she goes. The crowd roars. She slammed the wall.
The danger.
There's fire coming from the car.
The drama.
Look at that split. Wow.
The IZOD IndyCar Series. From the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway to the season's shortest track. The bull ring racing that is Iowa
Iowa Speedway.
You know, you're moving every part of your body, and if it's not being moved by you, it's being moved by the forces of, of G-force.
This week, it's the Corn Belt Heartland, where short track open wheel racing defines comfort level.
I mean, just take your road car out on the road and get the tires to squeal and get sideways and feel uncomfortable out there, and that's kind of where we live our lives, really.
It's extreme speed in the Midwest.
It's a battle, and you better be prepared.
Among the cornfields of central Iowa, you'll find Iowa Speedway, located about 35 miles east of Des Moines. We are ready for the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. The crowd is ready. We are ready. And Jack, the question is one driver, namely Scott Dixon, is he ready?
Well, according to Mike Hull, who is his top strategist, yes, they are. I want you to brief you on what happened. When they went to fire up the car to check all the systems checks, they saw that the fuel pump was not operating properly. Now, in order to get to the fuel pump, you have to go inside the fuel cell. They went back to Gasoline Alley. They dropped the entire fuel cell, and what they did is, rather than try and fix the fuel pump, they replaced it along with the seals and all the intakes and all the outlets. According to Mike Hull, no need for Dixon or Target fans to worry, Bob.
All right, well, we're just a few minutes away from the few seconds, actually, away from the command to start engines. The weather is a concern. In fact, there is a flash flood watch out for this area, but later this afternoon, right now, the weather looks good as we are ready to go. And after today's race, of course, the series goes to 5 straight road courses before ending the season on 4 consecutive ovals. Let's go down for the command to start engines.
Iowa Speedway fans, are you ready to go IZOD IndyCar racing? It's time for those 4 most famous words in motorsports to light the fuse on the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. Please welcome the chair of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board, Mr. Tim Burke, and he gives the command.
Drivers, please start those no tar balls, corn ethanol powered engines.
Race control, row 1, hot. 2, hot. 3, hot. 4, hot. 5, hot. 6, hot. 7, hot. 8, hot. 9, hot. 10, hot. 11, hot. 12 and 13, hot.
And that means that all 25 cars have started and will begin momentarily moving away behind the pace car. They will get the green flag the 4th time around. Beautiful scene here at this facility. Well, yesterday in qualifying, Verizon Team Penske driver Will Power won the Peak Pole Award at a 4-lap average of 181.337. His 4th this year, but his very first career pole on an oval. The Peak Pole Award is worth $10,000. All right, here is the lineup now. We'll go through this rather quickly since the race is just about to start. See Scott Dixon there on the outside of row number 1. Marco and Elio Castroneves are in row number 2. This is going to be the largest field to ever take the green flag at this facility. Now, back in 2008, there were 26 cars here, but only 24 took the green flag. So 25 today will be the largest field to start a race here at Iowa Speedway.
TK, we're looking there inside row 8. We saw from him having plenty of speed in practice. He didn't have it quite in qualifying, but he's going to have a good race car.
And there's the peak tread cam. Now that is going to provide some very, very exciting moments in our coverage. It's located actually in the racetrack in corner number 1. So the cars will be moving right over it as we go through. Onboard cameras will be carried by Tony Kanaan, hoping to break his string of bad luck at this racetrack. Ryan Hunter-Reay, who is currently 6th in points, the winner at Long Beach earlier this year. Justin Wilson, twice a runner-up this year, both on the street courses. Dan Weldon in the National Guard car will have an onboard camera. He's a former winner here and has had 4 top 10s this year. Danica Patrick in the GoDaddy.com car, her best finish in Texas 2 weeks ago since her victory in Japan in '08. And Scott Dixon, who's never finished outside the top 10 here in the 3 previous races. And there is Will Power, who will set the pace for today's event.
Here in the IZOD Performance Pit Center, I want to show you one of the major strategic moves everybody's going to be concerned with. This is the radar, and here is the Iowa Speedway. You notice the stray parts of green? Well, there doesn't seem to be any concern there. What's interesting is there usually is an early caution here. We're going to have to watch that as well. As we take a look at the averages, well, they're kind of interesting, guys, and they make for at least a 3-stop race. Stay tuned.
Next time by, they'll get the green flag. At the tail of the field is Milka Duno. If you were with us for qualifying yesterday, you saw her crash in turn number 2. The car has been repaired. She's at the tail of the field, and 25 cars are set to go. 250 laps of racing here this afternoon in the Heartland, Iowa. Off of corner number 4, and the green flag presented by Apex Brazil. Experience our energy. We're underway.
Right away, you got to watch the bump in turn number 1. And look at Dixon go to the high side.
Dixon still up on top. And we have a yellow as Justin Wilson is involved in a crash.
Mario Marias.
Yep. Well, you never like that. I mean, the whole MO is you want to get through the first lap. That's a challenge. So hate to see that, obviously, for Justin in the charter car and Marias as well.
Well, he crashed here last year, and he has crashed again, talking about Justin Wilson. And there's Mario Marias. We know what happened to him at Texas just 2 weeks ago. He and Elio Castroneves got together on the racetrack. Larry Curry from Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. Well, we certainly didn't go very far, did we, guys?
No, and Jan, you just had made the point. You want to get through turns 1 and 2 because we know there's the bump there in between them that sets off the car. It's not over in 3 and 4. This happened over in 3 and 4.
Now let's take a look at what happened.
So Justin is low. And
he just lost it.
Yeah. He just lost it on his own.
Yeah.
It almost looked like he was trying to pinch the car down.
Poor Mario Marias.
To stay low. You know, Justin was just trying to pinch the car down just to keep it on that lower groove. And when he added that little extra bit of steering, the rear just came around. Marias, nowhere to go.
Wow.
Marias was a victim of circumstances. That crash was in no way his fault, as Justin got into him pretty good and then put him into the wall. So we are cautioned for the first time here. It happened on the first lap in turns 3 and 4, and there as the onboard. Listen for the impact. Ooh, wow.
That puts you in the seat.
Both drivers out of their cars and apparently okay.
You want to be in. Gosh.
Back in a moment on Versus. Tonight, World Extreme Cage Fighting returns live to Versus. Hard-hitting former champ Jamie Varner looks to fight back to the top, but first he'll have to take down undefeated contender Kamal Shalarus. Varner, Shalarus, World Extreme Cage Fighting live tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, only on Versus. We are under caution here because of an incident on the very first lap. Crowd is down a little, and I think it's mainly because of the threat of rain. They were talking at least a 60% chance of rain early in the afternoon, but nevertheless, a lot of good Iowa farmers and race fans have shown up here at the racetrack. And there is Graham Rahal getting topped off. He's going back out there, as is Rafael Matos, Simona Di Silvestro, and Romancini. There is Milka Duno also getting topped off.
Now the situation with Justin Wilson, remember that the wind has changed. This car has always been solid in turn number 3 in the past, but you can just see it just starts to skate. He tries to save it, Robbie, but normally he's been rock solid in this corner, but it's changed.
But look, he had, you know, the car right in front of him of Danica, other cars around you, so it is changing the way the air hits the front of his car, and obviously, you know, just pinned the front a little too much, or the rear just wasn't up to temperature and grip with the rear tires and just made it swap ends.
They're the top 4. This is the 5th out of 8 races this season that Mario Moraes has been eliminated because of an accident. This one, however, was not his fault in any way.
Back to the Iowa Corn 250 at Iowa Speedway, where cleanup continues on lap 10 after a first lap incident between Justin Wilson and Mario Moraes, who's here with us now. And Mario, clearly that was not your fault. What did you see happen?
Well, you know, after the car felt pretty good, you know, that I could take one place on the start, and I feel so sorry for my team. The guys did a great job this weekend, and it's something that you can do nothing, you know, it's just try to avoid the contact. It's the second time with me. Last year was with Matos. Now with Justin, I feel so bad for them.
3 races in a row, you have had incidents, 5 DNFs. How do you keep your head in this game?
Well, you know, you need to think cold, you know, you need to just take to the next race.
Mario, thank you. Bob, back to you.
And the green flag comes out. We are back to racing. Scott Dixon was challenged. Oh, look at this, 3 wide into turn 1.
And you saw a brief graphic of the overtake assist, and there are a whole host of people that are all over the button right now to get some extra horsepower to make a move.
And that's exactly what the crew for Will Power told their driver, because Scott Dixon used one on the start as we get ready to go to the tread cam. And so Will Power, and the big tread cam shows you the way these cars have got the grip, Will Power used the button that time on that restart.
Isn't that cool?
Going right. I mean, that's at what, probably 181, 182 miles an hour right across that tread cam.
And that's Ryan Hunter-Reay on the high side. That's got the green colors of Ethanol USA. They've added to that IZOD machine. Now Kanaan on the outside looking at Briscoe.
And right in front of Kanaan is Ryan Hunter-Reay. These 2 guys are teammates driving for Andretti Autosport. Oh, there's
just got
by him on the outside, or went by him on the inside. But both these guys weren't happy with their qualifying, that being TK and Ryan Hunter-Reay. But they had very good race cars, and when we get on board with them, we'll see it.
Marco has taken 2nd position from Scott Dixon. And now Marco sets his sights on the leader, Will Power.
Well, we heard from him at the top of the show. He's got a little extra pressure to bring home a little Father's Day gift since he didn't have anything else for his dad, Michael. So that's some good incentive.
This is the 7th race, by the way, that Will Power has led this season. The only race that he has not led was on the 1.5 mile at Kansas Speedway. And look at Marco looking to the inside, but finding no room there. Now he looks to the outside. Robbie Floyd.
Well, Marco told me yesterday he wants that car in front. He said he had a good pull car, so I think he's trying to get out in front of Will Power early because I think he can pull away. Nobody wants to be behind, and you see the aggressiveness out of Marco Andretti already. The same thing he said he wanted to do yesterday.
I think we are very close to seeing a Marco Andretti win this year. I really do. He's run very, very well recently, and now challenges for the lead.
And he's had a very good race car really all year. When I'm thinking back to Brilson's AP, looking to the high side, and again, why you see him looking to the high side, and people that are going to go to the high side is you have all that, look at him, bob and weave. You have all that downforce in the race car, that big number that puts that big load through the steering wheel for these guys, but it really sticks that car on multiple grooves.
Coming up on the 18 of Milka Duno to put her a lap down here on the 22nd lap. Marco!
Oh, look out! Man! Wow. Good heads-up stuff there by Marco. It almost, I think there's probably contact between Power and Milka. She went up the track right in front of Marco.
And that had caused Marco to lose momentum. He's dropped back to 3rd as Dixon has taken 2nd once again. And here comes Franchitti and Elio Castroneves. And side by side, Ryan Briscoe and Alex Tagliani.
How was there not a crash?
Yeah,
that
really.
one? Wow, that was some awesome driving with 3 cars in a spot where there was really room for 2.
Danica Patrick's running 12th.
Looking up there at Tagliani on the right in front of her.
Let's take a look at that again. It came up on Milka Duno.
Oh, wow. Marco Andretti did a fantastic job in not getting into Milka, and Milka shouldn't have been surprised. Should have had plenty of time to know the leaders were coming, but looked like it was a complete shock.
And it was a surprise reaction. I don't think her and Will touched, but the surprise reaction is what put her up in front of Marco so quick, that jerk back up the track.
Tagliani and E.J. Viso are racing with each other. Vitor Mirror running in 15th position. So it's still Will Power leading over Dixon, Andretti, Franchitti, and Castro Neves at Iowa Speedway.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Deutsch.
29th of 29 of 250 laps completed here at the Iowa Speedway. And Will Power has led all the way so far for Verizon Team Penske. Running in second spot is Marco Andretti, then Dixon, Franchitti, and Castro Neves.
And Power goes by Milka Duno again. Now, Brian Barnhart has told the drivers, if you're not within 1 second of the leader's pace, he's going to pull you off the course. She right now is off of that mark.
And here's a battle for third.
And Dario's got it over Dixon. We're on board with Dixon.
Yep.
That's Dario up in front, so he got that spot kind of in that whole checking up process of back markers.
That only took 9 laps to lap her again. That's a safety issue. I think you've got to take her off.
It is, and what happens when you start getting lapped by all these guys? You get out of the groove, and you lose your momentum, and then they're just back on top of you, like you say, and 9 laps this time.
Firestone telemetry up in the upper right.
There he's going over the tread cam at 179.
There's a little
but check the move ahead. Whoa!
You see the wiggle.
There was a wiggle.
Big wiggle from Power. That's Power with the Verizon on his rear wing.
Yeah,
that
so
was with the wiggle.
He's lost it.
Yep.
What a nice move on the high side.
Marco Andretti takes the lead.
Now, can Marco check out with a little bit of clean air in front of him? But remember, he's going to be coming up on back markers right away. Yep. So everybody has to have a car that handles well in traffic. Dixon tries to sneak by Muto, who we know has been struggling.
Boy, yeah, Hideki has a great record here, finished second and third, but he had a horrible qualifying effort, and the car apparently is not running much better today.
We answered a question here, and people suggested that maybe Will Power would start the race with not a lot of downforce, and as soon as he got in traffic, look at him fall back. Takuma Sato now on the high side.
Yeah, Sato
and by him. High side and by him. So you're right. I mean, that aero balance and how much downforce you have in the car, that could be playing a big factor already on.
Down to Lindy Thaxton.
Justin Wilson, most importantly, you're in the medical center a little bit longer than Marias. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just bruised my foot, but I'm okay, so just disappointed. I thought we had a good car today. I thought the charter car could be running at the front, but you know, it's not the way I wanted today to work out. Feel sorry for Mario and his guys as well as everyone at Driving Reinbold Racing, because it's a shame to go out on the first lap.
So you say simply the car just felt too loose?
Yeah, 1 and 2 felt great. Went into 3, everything was good, but you know, I got halfway through 3 and the back started to come round. I started to get out of the throttle, but it was too late. The momentum took over, so yeah, this is how it is.
Justin, thank you. And of course, Watkins Glen is next, Bob, where Justin won last year.
Exactly. Well, Marco Andretti stretches out the advantage just a little bit over Dario Franchitti now. And here is how Marco got the lead. It's tough to keep up with everything that's going on in the racetrack, but here's how Marco got around Will Power.
And Power had to do a big checkup behind Muto. We didn't see that earlier, but he really had to dump the throttle. And you see what a big deal that is when you have to dump the throttle and you lose that momentum. He just got railroaded.
About a half a second advantage over Dario right now, with Dixon, Elio Castroneves, and Takuma Sato the top 5. This is the 4th race that Marco has led this year. He led 58 of 90 laps at Alabama.
12 summers of boat hauling, 63 miles of commuting daily. For any extreme from the road to the racetrack, nothing beats Mobil 1. The choice of over half of all NASCAR teams. So put some NASCAR in your car. Mobil 1.
We are Iowa's corn farmers, and we grow corn to make your body stronger and healthier, to make your recycled paper stronger and easier to use, to make your little artist crayons sturdy and bright, to make the United States more energy independent, to use in over 4,000 everyday products that make your life better. We are Iowa's corn farmers. We're working hard to create a better life for you.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Three-time Indy 500 winner, Elio Castroneves. Danica Patrick into the lead, making history. Fans on their feet for the side-by-side action. Dario Franchitti, your series champion.
The IZOD IndyCar Series. Get tickets now. Call 866-INDYCAR or visit IndyCar.com.
Larry, we just had the carpets cleaned.
That was the pizza guy.
You said you bought a DiGiorno.
But the pizza came with cheesy breadsticks.
New DiGiorno pizza and breadsticks. Taste, believe. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
She found a box.
Maybe because you left it right on the counter.
At TireRack.com, we don't just sell tires, we test them on our unique test track. Our results are honest, unbiased, and as real as it gets. Use this information to help decide which tires are right for you, your vehicle, how you drive it, and where you drive it. It's not just a test track, it's truth serum for tires. Right now, get a $50 Firestone prepaid card when you buy a set of eligible Firestone tires. For details, go to TireRack.com/TV. Research, buy, deliver, install.
You saw him versus nonstop, another lead change as Dario Franchitti has now taken the lead. Scott Dixon has moved to second, and Marco Andretti, who was leading just a few seconds ago, he is back to make that fourth position as Castroneves now moves to third. And you did not see this on nonstop because it happened behind the leaders, but look at Will Power and Bertrand Baguette. And by the way, Will Powers, we have another caution on the racetrack. Here's the contact between Power and Baguette headed down into turn number 1.
Great save by Baguette. I mean, look at that. It really lifted up the rear of his car, and he got sawn on the wheel. So nice save by him.
Will Powers dropped in 9th position after leading the first 32 laps of the race.
Well, what we saw from Power at the beginning of the race when he talked to Jack, I think it was, he said, we're going to put on a bunch of downforce.
He said, I won't tell you how much.
Relative to everybody else, exactly.
Correct.
So what is a bunch of downforce? Maybe not enough.
Not enough at this point.
By the way, Milka Duno has been flagged off the racetrack, so she is out of the race. And Bertrand Baguette, that we saw just a few minutes ago in the incident with Will Power, he pitted a while ago and lost 3 laps. So we are under caution now for the second time. And here again is the Pete Treadcam duck.
And that would be at about probably 65, 70 miles an hour versus the 181 to 3 miles an hour we were looking at.
Well, it's time for pit stops, huh?
Absolutely. You want to pit anytime there's a caution. If you don't, you lose nearly 2 laps. So this is a window of opportunity for certain.
Stay to the right side when you come in. You may have some quick stops here.
And that's because the car is not completely empty on fuel. So this will be quick stops. That's why you don't need all 22 gallons.
First, second, and third from top to bottom.
So the pressure is back on the tire changes now. It's not on those fuelers.
3, 2, 1.
Castroneves, little trouble on right rear.
Awesome job, guys.
Oh, there's some contact.
No. That was Kanaan into Elio that went into Dixon.
Wow.
And I think that was enough of a hit on Dixon that it could have tweaked his right front.
There could be some damage.
Excuse me, that was Franchitti, not Dixon, because Franchitti was in the first box. Nope, okay.
Dixon, Castro Neves, we saw that he had a little bit of a delay, and so when he swung out, as you said originally,
Dixon.
Okay, see, Franchitti gets away fine.
He's away, there you go.
And then he swings out and
watch his right front.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's enough to tweak his right front. That contact to the left rear of Elio.
He's trying to shoot the gap. Now he saw Kanaan coming, but then when he tightened up, that gave Dixon no place to go. Oh, great angle here. Look.
Yeah.
Well, the great news, Robbie, is that the contact looked like it was with the bodywork and not the wheel.
Well,
he might be all right.
But he went over that wheel, so I think that's okay. Nothing on TK's car.
Action on the racetrack, action exiting pit lane. We're at the Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn Indy 250.
The Iowa Corn Growers Indy 250 presented by Pioneer on Versus is brought to you by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com. And by IZOD, the official apparel supplier of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. And by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
Well, the IZOD IndyCar Series returns to road courses after this one. The first of 5 in a row takes you to Watkins Glen. You can watch it on ABC Sunday, July 4th at 3:30 Eastern Time. That's the race that Justin Wilson won last year for Dale Coyne. That's July 4th, Sunday at 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC. Robbie?
Elio Castroneves loses a spot in the pits. More importantly, Tim, is he fighting anything? How's the car?
It was a little loose there to start the stint, but you know, I think he fought it pretty well. That pit stop, unfortunately, I told him that Tony was on his right, and he probably got bumped by Tony and then went into Scott. And we're not 100% sure about the steering, so take a little bit of a chance here. But, you know, Elio's been in this position before, and see what happens.
He's saying anything at all to you?
Yeah, he's saying the steering's off by a little bit, but, you know, not any more than we've had in the past. So hopefully it's okay.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Lindy Thaxton?
Graham Rahal is having radio issues. He did not hear his team tell him to come in. That is why he is in the #1 spot right now. So, guys, obviously they are hoping for a yellow here very soon.
Well, Lindy, that could pay. I mean, he may not have wanted that strategy, but as you say, if he catches another yellow, this would be a great track position move, but he'll need yellow for this to pay.
Alex Lloyd running second. However, we understand that he will have to observe a drive-through penalty, so he will drop from second position. How about Tony Kanaan? He is up to 4th place.
Well, I don't think any of us should be surprised to see TK on an oval. If he's got a good race car, no matter where he's starting, you just give him a handful of laps or, you know, 60 plus in this case, and he's got himself up in the top 3.
Sure does.
And that's why Robbie picked him. Good job, Robbie.
Let's go green once again. Apex Brazil restart green flag comes out. Look at the movement back of Kanaan.
That'd be Castro Neves, who doesn't know about his steering, and he already is trying to go by Tony.
Well, that's what I say. Pretty aggressive for him getting all after it there. Really kind of question that.
Alex Lloyd didn't serve that penalty, or they changed their mind, because he's still right there behind Rahal. And look at the wiggle that.
Fixing your mirror. Looking inside. Clear. Looking.
The spotters will talk you almost all the way around here.
And remember, the spotters are just information. You're still the guy driving. There's his penalty, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, because the drive-through would be under green, and on the inside comes Dixon.
And Lloyd, just make note, Lloyd's probably going to lose up to close to 2 laps now serving that penalty under green here with getting around here in 17, 18-second laps.
That makes sense. The drive-through is always done under green.
Ryan Hunter-Ray is also in the mix here. He's running 5th, and he's here because of some sponsorship money from Ethanol USA and IZOD. And look at Takuma Sato. He's running 6th.
Absolutely. You know, ovals were the first thing for...
Here goes the lead.
Yep.
There it goes, Franchitti diving down in. I was just going to say, Sato, oval, new to the ovals. Look at the onboard stuff looking around there. How about that?
You know, one of the reasons why this is a two-group racetrack is because of the parabolic banking. It's 12 degrees at the bottom, and it goes up to 14 degrees at the top.
Now, Graham Rahal, unfortunately, you can see him just on the left there as we have a battle for the lead. When you lose momentum and you get in dirty air, it gets to be a big handful.
Scott Dixon wants the lead.
And you get guys passing you and losing your momentum and having to dump any throttle, man, you can swap 3 or 4 spots.
Now Bob's pick is leading.
That's right.
Good job, Bob.
Ryan Hunter-Ray working hard on the inside of Graham there in the dad's car for that spot now. Riding on board with him.
Dixon.
And guys, here's what I project for Graham Rahal. He has until about a lap 87, and then he will be forced onto pit road. So right now, he would give his kingdom for another caution.
Awesome shots.
Really.
This tread cam does not, it stays in one position. It's only a quarter-inch high is the tread cam.
Yep.
Awesome.
Top 3 cars running very, very close together on the racetrack. They're separated by a half a second, less than a half a second.
Is TK going to just sit back there and kind of size these guys up right now, or is he going to want to get to the front? And from watching on board there, he's going to keep challenging Franchitti to see what he's got.
Well, that represents our 3 picks right in a row. So Bob's leading. I'm second. You're third, Robbie. Not bad.
Still early going.
I know.
Early going.
Not bad, though.
We've already had 5 leaders and 5 lead changes in the first 71 laps of this race.
These teammates are leaning on each other.
Yeah, they are. And
here comes Dario.
Scott Dixon's car is okay.
And if anybody, Dixon was the guy that we were maybe concerned with on that contact they had coming out pit road with his left front, but no issues.
Yep.
The first time that Graham Rahal had the air taken off, it looked like he really struggled, but now he's getting in the groove of running that traffic.
And Sato got by him for the 5th spot, so that's as solid of a drive as we've seen for Sato being new to those ovals.
Dario had a notion.
You're clear right there, clear.
Robbie Floyd on pit lane.
Well, Tony Kanaan's moved from 15th place up to 3rd. Is he playing a watching game right now, Tom? Does he want to pass those guys, or is he taking it easy?
No, we got a long way to go, so we'll just sit tight. Car's good, plenty of downforce. We want a lot of green.
What have you been telling him on the radio, or more importantly, what has he been telling you how the car is?
Yeah, no, he said no changes at the stop, so we're good.
And that's a good thing. A great thing, guys.
Boy, these Target Chip Ganassi guys are going at it, aren't they? Wow.
They are beating him up. And when you heard Tom Anderson say, hey, we want a lot of green, what that means is they feel TK's car is better the longer he runs. So they want long runs. They don't want a lot of yellows.
Dixon, Franchitti, and Kanaan running very, very close together on the racetrack. We are at the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. We'll be right back. Scott Dixon is up front here at the Iowa Speedway. This is only the 4th race that Scott has led this season, and the first time that he has led since Kansas, when he was in front by 167 laps. But his teammate Dario Franchitti is right on the rear wing.
As close as Dario is running and keeps staying there, and that looked like Baguette may have rubbed the wall. He certainly was way out of the groove. No caution at this point, so he must not have touched.
And that was up in turn 4, coming off of 4. And we know once you get high in that groove, you get in those marbles.
There goes Dario.
Dario goes by.
Oh, he's using traffic. He goes to the high side of Simona.
That would be a pick.
Nice. Did all that without overtake assists.
TK going by Simona as well. So it was Simona that set that all off for that lead change for Dario to go to the front.
Here's Baguette. Yep.
Oh, yeah, he's up against the wall there a little bit. Just a little white.
But were there new tire marks? Because there was already tire marks there.
Looks like they're going to replace the front wing. Meanwhile, on the racetrack, it's Dario back in front. Now, Ryan Briscoe is back in 13th position. And he's about 10 seconds behind the leader. So,
well, what that's maybe saying is he's kind of going with the same setup as Will Power, which we think is light on downforce, and he's just struggling to stay in traffic and keep momentum around this racetrack.
He's 13th, and Will Power is 11th at the moment.
Graham Rahal's team has laid out to make the pit stop that Jack Arute was talking about, so unless it happens right away, he's not going to catch that yellow he was looking for.
Again, to point out that under green conditions, I hate to say it, but you're going to give up close to 2 laps. You're knocking on the door right at being at 2 laps.
See what Lindy Thaxton is up to.
Well, I have Tim Burek, who is chairman of the promotion board here, and I know it's loud, so I'll lean into you, but I bet you are glad this is finally here, huh?
Oh, baby, we've been waiting for this for a long time. We're worried about the rain. We're standing here in front of the ethanol car. The ethanol car is going around. What a great time. It's all about ethanol. It's about corn. It's about racing. It's about renewable energy, sustainable energy, environmentally friendly energy. That's ethanol. That's why we're here today.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, it's a great time.
And Graham Rahal is pulled into his pit box, and obviously, guys, he is off strategy now because of that radio issue, and they need a lot of luck here to get back on track.
Okay, now we got Dario coming up on this lap traffic as well as Dixon. Can Dixon close in a little bit here?
Sarah Fisher and Alex Lloyd.
There's Dixon closing in on, taking that.
Whoa, I was just going to say that as soon as Sarah Fisher got a little bit outside into the gray, you could just see her had to come right out of the throttle.
That was a situation in which she was trying her best to get out of the way and got out of the groove and into the wall.
I thought she'd got out of it enough. It almost like she got in the gray and it looked like the whole thing was going to make it fine. And then once you get up, you can see all these little bits of rubber there. Yeah. And that is very, very slick.
But, dude, sometimes just when you get up there and you dump the throttle, you think it would make it turn.
You know what Graham Rahal's thinking right now? Oh, I missed it by 2 laps.
Yeah, right.
Just pitted. He and Hideki Muto just hit pit lane.
I hadn't thought about that, Jan.
Sorry,
but you're right. But they pushed that window as much as they could. It was lap 9. I mean,
you got to do it.
They went further than what we thought Jack Arute said they would at about 86, 87 earlier. So.
Sarah Fisher's only race here was in 2007. She went from 18th to 7th that year, but unfortunately, she's in the wall, and here's a replay.
See, at this point, she's way out of it, realizing that she got out of the groove, thought it was fine, but as the moment that you cross into the gray, Robbie, it was just like ice. Here she looks good.
You're okay. She's just in the high line right there, but then the car must have pushed.
Yeah.
The car must have washed up, and then as soon as it gets just out of that black and you pick up any of those marbles, you could see that she was going to the brake pedal to try and stop it, but you literally are just, you're on ice.
Sarah walking away from the crash. As an owner-driver, she is, of course, unhappy that her car suffered damage, but we certainly are glad to see that Sarah is okay.
And they have talked about anytime they have a caution like this, they're going to take the time to sweep and make sure that high line. But here's the important part. We saw position changes last time on the pits. Again, the whole group will pit under caution.
This is lap number 98.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And if we get any excitement like we saw them racing for the line last time. Woo.
TK's away. Oh, good pit stop for
Franchini's out.
Dixon. Castro Nevis moves up 1.
Takes advantage of Sato. Power went up 2. Same Briscoe, 3.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Well, that was a lot calmer.
Yes, it was.
leaving there and
that was a great explanation, though, by Tim Cindric earlier, saying that he had warned Elio that up on the outside was coming Kanaan, and that's why he kind of made that quick. He pulled it down, but unfortunately, that's when he rubbed against Dixon. Thankfully, they're all still running.
Jack Arute in the IZOD Performance Pit Center.
All right, guys, so we talk about the marbles and what happened to Sarah Fisher. Basically what happens, I brought this cheese. When the tires, the Firestone tires, they don't wear out, but you end up getting bits and pieces of rubber out on the racetrack. So what I figured we would do is show you by taking some marbles, throwing them out here on the floor. This is basically what's going to happen. When you get outside of the groove, try to walk through these and maintain control. Back to you.
You were so close, Jack. Doggone it.
What are you going to do now, Jack? You better get those cleaned up or we're going to lose you for the rest of the show.
You look a little better than you did in Texas with the bowling balls on the side of your head. Fans old and young here today on Father's Day at Iowa Speedway. Well, the IZOD IndyCar Series returns to Versus Sunday, July 25th with the Edmonton Indy. Will Power took his first IndyCar Series win at Edmonton last year. Will be on Sunday, July 25th at 5 o'clock Eastern here on Versus. While we have the opportunity, we want to first of all, as we are in a caution period for the Iowa Corn Indy 250, we want to send our best wishes to Olivia Andretti, the daughter of John and Nancy. Had surgery earlier this week, and we hope for a very speedy recovery to Olivia. And also, we want to extend sympathies to the families of Wayne Leary, Coach Les Richter, and Newton Wolf. Now, Newton was very instrumental in having this speedway built, and he loved helping develop the tread cam that you are seeing here today. So our sympathies to those three families, and a very, very get well soon wish to Olivia Andretti.
Becoming an official.
Well, Dario is the leader of this race, with Scott Dixon running in second position. And Lindy is with Sarah Fisher.
And this is Sarah's 80th start in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Obviously not the way you wanted to finish. Did something go wrong with the car? Or did you just get caught up in the marbles?
No, when you're running too wide here, there's just not a whole lot of room. So when there's a little bit of lack of grace there, there's nothing really you can do. I almost had it collected, but, you know, Dollar General car just couldn't run in the marbles today, so.
And you were here in 07, but this is the first year for Sarah Fisher racing your own team to be here, but you actually raced pretty close to here growing up.
I did. Knoxville National is just right around the corner, and it's their 50th anniversary, so it's an off weekend. Maybe I'll come back to it, but gotta love those sprint car short track nights.
And clearly you're okay, right?
Yeah, so, you know, not such a good Father's Day, sorry, Dad, but, you know, hey, whatever. We had a pretty fast race car, and the boys worked really hard this weekend, so I'm real proud of their effort.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And speaking of Father's Day, on the Sarah Fisher racing team, you have Andy O'Gara and Johnny O'Gara. Andy is Sarah's husband there, and Johnny is the father-in-law of Sarah. He's the strategist.
It's a family affair, isn't it? There's Simona Di Silvestro. She's a lap down in 17th position. Let's see what happened on her pit stop.
Air jack, obviously keeping the car up until they're in position, but unfortunately the air jack didn't release. It let the car down, but the actual receptacle didn't come off. So similar to the fuel probe we talked about, don't often see that with an air jack.
Yeah, but that's the signal when the car hits the ground is for the driver to go as well, but it hit the ground, he couldn't pull it out.
Simone is back in the race. We have 15 cars on the lead lap here as we near the halfway point. Chip Ganassi's drivers are running 1-2, Franchitti and Dixon. We'll be right back. The Target Chip Ganassi guys are battling it out up front. Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon. Dixon has led 18 laps so far, but Dario is the man at the front right now, and he has led 36 of the 109 laps that we have completed so far. There he is. And look at the green shirts. Those are Iowa corn growers, and we are delighted to have them here to watch their race. They have a big tent out in turns 1 and 2, some of them in the grandstand. In any case, thank you for your hospitality here at Iowa Speedway and for growing the things that we all like to eat.
It's all about the corn.
That's right. The Ganassi cars have led 48.3% of the total laps completed this season. That's a pretty staggering statistic, isn't it?
You can flex your muscle on that one.
But TK, Tony Kanaan, is lurking in 3rd position. Just have the feeling that he may be just waiting. There is the Andretti Autosport team and where they are running. Kanaan and Hunter Ray are 3rd and 4th, and back a little ways, Marco and Danica.
And if you remember, guys, when we talked about Kanaan and Hunter Ray earlier, I just made comment to saying when we watched from their onboards during practice, we said, boy, they're
one to go at the line.
One.
Down to Lindy.
During Simona Di Silvestro's pit stop, there was an injury to Brett Snyder, her right rear tire changer. He hurt his ankle. He has been taken away. You can see ice and a wrap on it there. She came back in and topped off fuel, and now she has been given a drive-through penalty under green for hitting that crew member, Bob.
Okay.
It's just not penalty enough for hurting your own guy.
Yeah,
they bring you back in and zap you again.
Getting set to go back to green flag racing. It's Franchitti, Dixon, Kanaan, Hunter Ray, and Castro Neves, the top 5.
What a move by Dixon on the low side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Driving down in there hard.
But here comes Dario. He's got that momentum on the top side.
Those guys don't look like teammates, do they? Dixon is going to hang on to the lead.
Wow.
And that makes our 7th lead change.
I was almost going to say that you want to be leading here on this length of a racetrack, whereas most big ovals you want to be second on a restart. But wow, Scott Dixon showed me wrong there.
Now, it was an interesting technique that Scott Dixon used when they gave them 1 to go. He got down into 2nd gear as his teammate Dario Franchitti did, but he used more throttle and he held on to the brake. As soon as they got to the go zone and the green flag flew, he got that 10 seconds of extra overtake, and that's what gave him the momentum to get by and into the lead.
Wow. Thanks, Jack. That's very interesting. But Dario's, who's been running high, now is running low. And that, I think, is the place to be.
And for both of these guys to look down low and keep the car down there, the cars must be turning really well. Anytime you run that tighter radius down low, to stay down there and run flat. Whoa! Wow. Man, just up across his nose. Pretty well handling race cars right here, guys.
Hey guys, you talked about the car must be turning. They did no changes on that last stop. Tony Kanaan, another guy who's been happy with his race car all day. We're from 15th place up to 7th. Now he's in 3rd. No changes that last time around. And they told him you still had 21 overtakes at that last stop.
Wow, Dixon has now lost 3 spots.
Well, Dixon had to get out of the throttle there one time when he was behind Kanaan. And there goes Ryan Hunter-Ray just by him on the outside. But we know Dixon's going to look outside, look inside, come back. Look at TK.
On the low side.
He hasn't led yet.
Whoa.
Still hasn't.
Nope.
And he's using the overtake, guys. He's using the overtake. It really helps on a short track. This is the first time that the Indy Racing League has used the overtake, and it catapults the 7-Eleven car, Tony Kanaan, into the lead.
And he's got his teammate, Ryan Hunter-Ray, in that ethanol car, wants to ride that momentum by Dario as well.
And Kanaan still has 1 more overtake than does Franchitti. So he's made himself to the lead, and now Dixon on the low side.
Ryan Hunter-Ray and Scott Dixon battle for 3rd.
That tucks in back behind him.
That is a preview that the overtake assist is going to do exactly that. And you want to save it to the end unless you need track position. Always has the lift. He thought about it, but
and that's just what you're saying is anytime you get to the low side of this racetrack, that front of the car's really got to turn for you. And if it doesn't turn and starts going up the racetrack, you got to get out of the throttle. Just what happened to Dixon.
And Dario's gone back to the high side. Going after Kanaan.
This is the first time Kanaan has led since Chicagoland last year.
This is also the first time that they have the new aero configuration that was introduced at Kentucky last year that now you see for the very first time on the short oval. And that combination, and I think the fact that you've got kind of filtered sun today, and that they swept the high groove. Remember, we had a long caution, and they swept all the marbles off that Jackaroo was telling us about. Now they got 2 grooves to race on.
We are at the halfway point. 125 laps completed and 125 to go. And these guys are certainly entertaining the fans who have come to Iowa Speedway today and those of you watching on Versus.
And every bit of that 2 grooves, and Jan, as you were saying about the aero changes that we made from Kentucky last year, is you had those little wickers that were on the side of the end plates there, and it made for dirty air. But now the way these guys are looking to the right and to the left and diving, you know, inside, outside, it really has allowed them to do that. Where before it created dirty air and they couldn't do that so aggressively.
So there is the battle between Kanaan and Franchitti, and right behind are Hunter Ray, Dixon, and Castro Neves, the top 5 at the Iowa Corn Indy 250. We still have a torrid battle up front for the lead. Tony Kanaan and Dario Franchitti are wheel to wheel. Our Iowa Corn Indy 250 race recap shows that Tony has led 13 laps. We've had 3 cautions and 6 leaders, 9 lead changes, the record for the most lead changes. 13, that happened in 2007, and at the halfway point, we are at 9 lead changes, and Hideki Muto is in pit lane. That team has been struggling big time all weekend.
There's a big run. There's a big run. And he's got that done. Did you see all the momentum he carried on the start-finish there? And just, but he drove it down in low there. Again, to drive in there to turn 1 like that, you got to have confidence that the car's going to stay down there when you drive down in versus come on up and take yourself and Kanaan out of the race.
Look at Takuma Sato.
Sato has moved up to 5th position. He passed Elio a few seconds ago. And Takuma Sato is having his best race of the year.
And keeping in mind, ovals were a whole new game to him this year. And then the short oval, this is brand new to him.
Great run, Lindy.
Yeah, guys, Takuma had never even seen this place until Friday afternoon. His highest oval start is here, and everyone around him says that he is just such a stud here. In fact, him and his teammates E.J. Vizo and Mario Marias watched our Versus qualifying show over and over last night to study the lines of the other drivers. You're watching a battle for 2nd place right now. Speaking of his teammate E.J. Vizo, he started 19th, is up to 7th, one of the biggest movers here today. Although he may not start high up on these short overs, he and his engineer Bill Pappas just always seem to have a good short oval strategy.
There is E.J. Vizo running in 7th spot behind Elio Castro Neves and ahead of Will Power, the pole sitter for this race, who has not been a contender since the first 30-some laps.
Yeah, he jumped out to lead in that clean air, but anytime we got it, as soon as we started getting into traffic, just got challenged with that dirty air and is fighting to stay up in the top 10.
Scott Dixon was battling Tony Kanaan there for 2nd place for a lap or 2, and now he's dropped back just a little bit. As the leader comes up on some of the slower traffic, that's Bertrand Baguette.
This is where you got to be so careful.
Simona Di Silvestro comes in for another pit stop.
You could hear TK just kind of breathe off the throttle there as they're going by some slower cars.
It's Romancini. And here is Dan Weldon and Vitor Meira. They run in 9th and 10th. Dan Weldon, of former winner here. We're on board with him in the National Guard car.
Looking back at Vitor Mira in the ABC car for Foyt, and we saw...
Well, he had to lift, though. He had to go down a gear, so here comes Mira.
Nope, oh, that momentum got taken away just there. But we heard Mira after he crashed. He said, AJ, I got a good car. And he does have a good car, and now he's got that pass done.
And remember, Vitor crashed in practice yesterday before qualifying.
Clear.
Here comes Briscoe, and a move for the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Kanan coming back after Dario.
And this has been a great race so far.
And these first 3-4 cars, you could put them, they seem very even in performance. I mean, Hunter Ray is kind of hanging on there, but these first three, at any moment, they seem all of a sudden to show muscle.
No question about it. What's been really good to see is that bump that we thought was going to be more of a concern between 1 and 2 has not been an issue for these guys, how they're racing through there side by side.
Simona Di Silvestro has climbed out of her car. She is out of the race. That gives us 5 cars out. And Lindy is with Simona.
Simona, obviously you're out for a reason. Does this all stem from what happened in the pit lane with Brett?
Yeah, you know, we did a long stint on the tires, and we run the tires down a lot, and I turned into the pits and I had no grip. So, you know, I feel really sorry for the guys because, you know, I came in a little hot and missed my pit box. So it's a shame, and since then we're having a problem with the car. You know, it's suddenly on the steers and over the bump. It's really loose. You know, we're gonna go check it, and I think we can learn a lot from this weekend, but we'll see what happens.
This is your first experience on a track like this. What'd you think out there?
You know, it's pretty crazy, especially where we started. You know, you have to move forward, and it was pretty hard to pass. But, you know, we're kind of being there. It's a fun track, you know. I think if we come here next year, we're going to be better for sure.
Simona, thank you. And Bob, Michael Cannon had said after what happened in Texas 2 weeks ago and having issues with the car, they just didn't want to risk it and just wanted to park it.
And that's only her second DNF this season. Simona Di Silvestro has really shown a good talent winning the Rookie of the Year honors at the Indianapolis 500 this year. Danica Patrick, she's running 13th. Simona, Fisher, and Duno, the other females in the race, are all out of competition. So Danica carrying the colors. Tony Kanaan leads by about a half a second over Dario Franchitti, Dixon, Hunter Ray, and Sato, the top 5.
The Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer on Versus is brought to you by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD IndyCar series. And by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com.
Time, wheat thins. You and your tasty whole grain. This can only end one way. Wheat thins. Toasted, whole grain, crunch. The crunch is calling.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the only motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
We are Iowa's corn farmers, and we grow corn to make your body stronger and healthier, to make your recycled paper stronger and easier to use, to make your little artist crayons sturdy and bright, to make the United States more energy independent, to use in over 4,000 everyday products that make your life better. We are Iowa's corn farmers. We're working hard to create a better life for you.
Welcome back to the Iowa Corn Indy 250 as we take a look at the lead with Tony Khan just ahead of Dario Franchitti. Been pretty much the story most of the race, but an early race leader. The 26 of Venom Racing car of Marco Andretti. He was up front early, but he's been suffering with the loose race car. And when they came in just a moment ago, they didn't take 1, 2, or 3 turns of front wing. They went for 4, guys. He just shook his head, pointed, and said, it's got to come down.
Yeah, and that green pit stop cost him 3 laps, so he's back in 17th, 3 laps down. Kanan and Franchitti continue to battle at the front.
And when we initially saw Marco kind of going backwards on the racetrack, Jan and I looked at each other that we thought maybe even had a mechanical or something. He was slowing at such a dramatic pace versus just having a loose race car. So it was that big of a moment for him.
And Dario had a bit of a moment just then. He got high looking at Kanan and had to get out of it just a little. But even with that, you can see how much more clear from the tread cam that they have cleared the marbles, but you can see them on occasion. They just peel right off.
Yep.
Yeah, we wouldn't want Jack up there on the side of the bank trying to roll down on that, would we?
But significantly less than there were after sweeping, and that's why we see this great side-by-side.
Wow.
Sato's after another spot.
Sato takes 4th. Takuma Sato up to 4th place in the Lotus-sponsored car for KB Racing Technology.
And he has Dixon in his sights.
This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th right here.
Well, it is great to see those Lotus colors back here, and that all ties back to kind of a marketing effort with the Lotus cars being sold back here in the U.S., and they want to get that message. Woo!
There he comes.
And you heard the lift that set that off.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Coming up on Alex.
Look out.
Alex is 2 laps down in 15th.
So, you know, as a driver of TK leading this, he's like, hey, I've got to be aggressive going through traffic to try and get myself, but not where I'm stupid and compromise hurting my race car as well. So it's kind of a toss-up where you go here.
Race drivers don't ever do anything stupid, do they, Robbie?
No, never's happened. Never's happened.
Never seems stupid until afterwards.
I mean, how can you be? I mean, all the tips we've gotten from Jan and keeping our protractors and tractors and this and that.
Look at Sato is just flying.
Guys, you know that for Takuma Sato, this is his first trip here, but he almost didn't make it from Des Moines Airport to the racetrack. When he went to get his rental car, he pulled out his Japanese license. The guy behind the counter said, I've never seen one of these. I'm going to have to call the home office. 45 minutes later, he got his rental car. Wow. Who was right behind him? Me. Lindy?
Kevin Kalkoven, owner of KB Racing Technologies, I just came up to you and you started biting your nails.
Well, Jack is having the race of his life here. And after the bad luck we had on the first lap, the team is doing just a great job. And my heart may start beating again at the end of the race.
Watching him, it's hard to believe this is his first time here. What are you all telling him?
Just keep calm, keep doing what he's doing. He's a real professional. We videotaped a lot of activities from the previous races and practice and showed it to him, and he's learned clearly.
Kevin, thank you. We'll let you get back to it. And Bob, Tony Kanaan has already lapped Danica Patrick.
Yes, he lapped Danica and Weldon and put him a lap down on board with Danica. She's back in the 12th spot. This is Scott Dixon.
Yeah, back in the 7th spot. So,
yeah, he's dropped a lot. Listen to him lift.
Well, and that's a downshift. And you saw Marco Andretti got loose and how quickly he backed up. So if the handling goes off, you go down in a hurry.
Well, guys, consider this fact as well. We're getting to the pit stop window, so you've burned off a lot of that ethanol fuel. and it's 7 pounds per gallon. That can really change the handling characteristics of these cars. Also checked the wind direction, and it's gone from coming out of the due south, out of the northeast now. So the wind is a little different. That's changed the handling characteristics. Robbie Floyd.
Kevin Kalkoven had just said they were telling him to take it easy. And I was almost going to say that we might see our first green flag pit stops for the leaders, but not now.
No, and then we're going to see everybody's going to come in right now, and they'll be good to go to the end.
That is such a shame. Sato had a great run going, running in 5th position.
That is
running
tough.
in 3rd position, I beg your pardon. Pretty big hit on the right side of the car.
Yeah. You know, there, and we just, Lindy just had a great conversation with Kevin.
We heard about the wind changing. That makes it, when you have people like Scott Dixon all of a sudden backing up through the field, Marco Andretti having trouble, the cars were changing a lot, and he doesn't have that kind of experience on a short oval when it starts to change.
And let's not forget about tire wear. You know, you get to the end of the life cycle of the tires, there's probably not as much grip overall, and you may lose a little bit of grip from that right rear, and that loosens the cars up.
Yep.
But there was traffic involved. He ran up behind Alex Lloyd. Okay.
And just where Sarah Fisher did that. Identical. I mean, in terms of how he went up the track, but took the air off the front of his car and up the track it went.
Okay, so it wasn't handling. It was just being in a place where the air gets taken off. And as you said, carbon copy almost hit the same marks
of Sarah
on the
wall. We hate to see that, huh? Gosh.
Yeah. And it's, Robbie, unless you and I have been there, when you get into that wash behind another car, when someone crosses in front of you, it is just like someone picks up the front of the car. It takes all that air off the front wings, and it just won't turn.
Yeah, and it gets really light. All of a sudden, you can turn that wheel left or right. It gets that light of a sensation and washes up. And he had momentum coming in there as well.
Okay, well, here we go. Track position could be key. Everyone's going to pit under caution. You'll be good to go to the end. This will be the last stop.
So you want to hit your marks. This is it to get in and out.
Okay, we got a full fill here.
DK should be the first to pull out here. He's the first to hit his marks
on the right front.
So Dario's away first. It looks like Castro Neves picked up a bunch of spots.
Look at all the jockeying as they go out there.
+2 for Castro Neves up to P2. Nice. But as you pointed out there astutely, Bob, not what Tony Kanaan wanted. He's going to be thinking, and we haven't one stop that really counts.
And we haven't talked about Elio ever since that one pit stop where he came out and Cindric told him to stay low. We haven't really seen or talked about him to this point. Now he is in P2.
Let's watch Ryan Hunter-Reay come in here.
His team,
he locked it up.
Oh, look out. That could have been bad.
You and I look at the exact same thing and go with the, when you see that right front tire changer with his legs out there.
His ankles sitting out like that.
And you can see Ryan just got rear lockup, rear bias lockup, and just kind of points the car in. Here it is. There it is. Wow.
And well, you could feel, he could, it was almost like, where'd my tire go? But you can feel it. You can't look over your shoulder. You can feel when a car's getting that tight on pit lane.
Franchitti is your leader. Castro Neves now running second, and TK is third at the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. Happy Father's Day to everyone. A lot of fathers and sons and fathers and daughters here at the Iowa Speedway today, celebrating Father's Day 2010. The fastest lap of the race so far. Our IZOD fastest lap has been turned in by Dario Franchitti with a speed of 179.108. It happened on lap number 21. And there's an interesting statistic. 66% of the time you're turning here at Iowa. Let's find out what the deal is with Scott Dixon, who was dropping back.
Drop back, Mikey. What is the problem with the car, or what are you talking to with Scott?
You know, so you want to be you want to be invincible, but we aren't. Front tires started to give up a little bit toward the end, and Scott just decided, you know what, I want to finish the race, and I want to finish at the front. We were on sweet sequence to come in the pits, so we knew he was going to have fresh tires. We made a couple of small changes on the car, and we'll see how we go to the end here.
You were also talking to him about some adjustments in the cockpit as well, trying to remind him. I mean, he's been a racer for a long time. You still have to put those thoughts in his head.
Well, I think racers are intense guys, and girls for that matter, and he uses the controls better than probably anybody we've ever been around, so he fiddles with them. We just keep reminding him.
You comfortable right now? I'm looking on the pylon, 6th place right now. You comfortable you can get back up there in front?
Well, I mean, this is a tough place to pass. Let's face it. These guys go fast around a 7/8 mile oval, but we think our cars are good for the second half of the run. You saw what Dario could do here, so we'll be all right.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Both Target Chip Ganassi cars looking strong here today, guys.
Scott will restart in 6th position. His teammate Dario will be the leader. You know, Iowa Speedway is a relatively new track, and they did a lot of things right here, including a very wide pit lane that allows good exit.
Yeah, look at it. You're going to see them 4 abreast as they're fighting to get to the line, which is right around the corner. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4 with the inside lane still. And there is the timing line right there where the Sunoco is on the yellow cone. So fantastic stuff. Look at the onboards of where it is. So it's not just... Look at that. So there's plenty of space, though. Sometimes when you see guys challenge each other, they don't have anywhere to go. They end up going into the walls.
Yep.
Hey, guys, we were talking to Brian Barnhart before the start of the race because we noticed how wide this pit lane is, and he said, to his estimation, this is the widest pit lane that the IndyCar, the IZOD IndyCar Series gets to operate on. He said one of the problems, though, is you see the outside lane and you get lulled into thinking that you can go all the way out there. We saw that early in the race. We've been treated to these Peak tread cam. Let me show you the world's smallest HD camera. Not this whole puck, this hockey puck thing. That's what protects the camera. See that little area right there? That's the HD camera. How'd you like to have one of those, Jan? Because they bury it inside the racetrack, and the only thing that is available to go up over the tire is about 1/4 of an inch, a rise. It's amazing technology, and we've been treated to it all day from that tread cam.
Yes, that's a great innovation. And remember that our own Terry Lingner and Jamie Fishman, who brought the camera up to show us as well, that started way back in 1991, back in the Thunder Series. You know that well, Bob, from ESPN. So that has now developed to the HD level.
It's quite a deal. Lindy.
Takuma Sato. And Takuma, you haven't really done many ovals, have never even been here. Would you say what happened out there came down to experience?
Could be. I tried to overtaking the lap to go, and they were racing 2 cars, and one car just chopped it inside me. I lost a big chunk of the airflow, and then I ran wide and into the walls. Extremely disappointed. You know, I feel really sorry for the team. Done a fantastic show over the weekend, and every piece of we made some change and you know, tried to get good car, and I was in a good mood, and you know, taking some people, and it was good week up until then.
Well, we heard the team tell you afterwards, still such a great job. That must be good to hear, though.
It's extremely shame and extremely disappointed, but I take account this is character building, and try to get experience, and I'll try next time.
Takuma, thank you.
Thank you.
The Formula One veteran Takuma Sato drops out of the race, running 3rd with a crash. And we're getting ready to go back to green here. Here are the Team Penske drivers and where they are running. Castro Neves is 2nd, Power 5th, and Briscoe is in 7th position. We've seen this picture before. They're just working on their cars and probably will be up front battling for the lead before too much longer.
Danica wants to get her lap back, but that didn't quite work out.
And Dixon was way aggressive at the start. We see him up on the top side there of the Penske car.
That's a drive-through penalty for Ryan Hunter-Ray. If you make contact with any pit equipment, we saw that earlier with Simona De Silvestro, they may give you a drive-through, and they've chosen to do so.
Tough break for him, too, because he was having an excellent race.
Yeah, he had a podium race car, guys.
Yep.
And that little miscue.
He got a little bit, like I said, a little rear lockup and caught that tire. And whoa! Hey, remember he said, you know, payback.
Yep. Yep. What goes around comes around.
I think that was his exact quote, yeah.
So you mean he just scared her as much as he shocked us up here?
Let's give a shout out to E.J. Viso, also, who's having a very good race, running right there in front of Danica Patrick. He is in 4th spot.
He's picking right up where his teammate Takuma Sato left off.
Yep.
And it sure would be great to see the KV guys have a...
And look at this.
Look who's about to take the lead. Elio Castroneves takes the lead.
Wow. Well, you want to talk about tuning your race car for the end of the race, and when it matters, there's a guy that's always there at the end, isn't it?
He came from nowhere.
And remember how solid both the Ganassi cars were early on. So for him to do that shows they've tuned that car to put it in a pretty happy balance for the time being.
Now remember, in Texas with 3 Penske cars, Elio went a different way than the other 2. He didn't do well. It looks as though today he went the other way with more downforce. The other 2 went lighter, and today it's going to pay for Castroneves.
Robbie Buell, you talked about wanting the car to be working properly at the end of the race. That's what Dario Franchitti and his crew did during that pit stop. They changed it and made an air pressure adjustment that said it might not work in the first half of the fuel load. It said it will give you what you need, though, for the end of the race. And here goes Franchitti saying that Elio Castroneves, no, not on this short track. I'm undefeated there. And TK says, I want a piece of this action now, too.
Elio left the door open as he... Oh, look at this.
Wait, that's not good. He just all of a sudden went straight backwards.
Was he forced to the bottom?
Something's wrong.
No, that's something wrong. I was going to say, it looked like for a second he was forced to the bottom and dumped the throttle, but this is... looks like he's...
That's a mechanical issue.
He's looking down at his gear shift level. It looked like there's something mechanical he's looked to be kind of...
We don't often see that, you know? A mechanical failure.
Yeah, you can see him looking down with his helmet there a little bit.
What a tough break for Franchitti. He was the season-high lap leader coming into this race.
And he's got to coast all the way down pit lane here.
You lose 2 laps if you stop under green at full speed. So, obviously... Oh, and it's still running. So, Robbie, that would... Yeah, that's drive line.
Yeah, guys, they've gotten the gear cluster out. So, obviously, there's something in the rear end that's given up.
That's, wow, a shame.
Well, now it is...
Elio back on top.
Yeah, Castroneves, Kanaan, and Viso running 1, 2, 3.
And the great news there was when he lost drive, he didn't have someone right behind him. We look back at the Indy 500, we've talked about how the closing rate in this particular case, it's not always fuel. There could always be some other circumstance that all of a sudden makes your car slow dramatically.
No,
everybody got by.
A great point, the fact that he was down low and there wasn't anybody, 6 inches off his gearbox. They were up in the higher groove. Absolutely fortunate.
You heard?
Dario and Kanaan were the only drivers who has completed every lap of the season. But Dario is out of the race.
E.J. Viso in 3rd position is being awfully quiet over his radio, but Kevin Kalkoven and Jimmy Vasser just told him the main thing, stay out of those marbles, E.J. That's what got Takuma. And Bob, that's also what got Sarah Fisher in that exact same spot.
There's Jimmy Vasser looking on to his driver, E.J. Viso, running in 3rd position. Just a few car lengths behind Tony Kanaan, who is right behind Elio Castroneves, the leader of this race. Stay with us for more of the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer from Iowa Speedway. It's the most epic race ever. The Tour de France begins July 3rd, and you'll see it only on Versus. 21 days, the world's best cyclists will take on the rolling plains, soul-shaking cobbles, and grueling mountains of France. The most epic race ever, the Tour de France, July 3rd at 11:30 Eastern, only on Versus. We have heard several drivers talk about how they enjoy watching the Tour de France and are big fans of Lance Armstrong, including Tony Kanaan and Elio and Scott Dixon.
I remember Tony saying, hey, you know, there was one time I rode 100 miles and it really kicked my butt. And he said those guys are running up to close to 200 miles, you know, a day. It is a phenomenal mental place that those guys go to, and on those uphill climbs for the Tour de France. I mean, just mind-blowing.
There you see first, second, and third.
And at this point, I think they're pretty happy staying in order right here. You know, let's burn off another 15 laps or so, stick in that order, and then as you come around to lap traffic, that's when you need to get busy. But right now, I think they're just going to sort themselves out till they get to that traffic.
Interesting in this group, though, Bob, is that when you have Dixon right behind him is Power, and we had at one stage, looked like Power was out of it, but just like Castroneves, they have got him tuned up, and now we get towards the end, he's picking up pace.
And there are only 33 laps to go, and those will go by very, very quickly.
And it's going to get interesting here probably in about another 3 laps when we get to some of the slower traffic. And Elliott will be the first to do that. So that will be interesting to see what kind of car he has, Jan, with regards to downforce and the traffic.
We have set a new record for lead changes here in Iowa. The old record was 13, set back in 2007. Today we have had 15 to this point. Robbie Floyd.
Well, the streak has been broken for Dario Franchitti. The 2 times he was at this track, he won. But it looks like the transmission or the gearbox is stuck in between gears. So instead of just guessing, they're going to pull out all the gears and replace them with new ones. Just try and salvage points for this IZOD IndyCar Series, which he was the leader coming into this race.
Yeah, and right now he is 3rd in points as Will Power has taken back the points lead. But, of course, we've got several laps to go. Power, Dixon, and Castroneves are the top 3 in points as they run. Ryan Hunter-Reay lost a lap, and now we're on board with Dan Weldon.
Oh, and here's what you're talking about, Robbie. The leaders are in traffic.
Oh, my.
Here comes Kanan on the low side.
There it is, 3 wide. That's Marco up on the high side.
Kanan cannot do it. And look at Viso as he goes from the low lane to the high lane.
And part of that is anytime you get forced down low, again, we talked about earlier, when you're down there, you got to turn the car more with the wheel. And if it doesn't stay there, you got to get out of the gas or you're going to wash up the racetrack.
Well, that's the same thing that happened to his teammate, Takuma Sato, but he saved it. Power right on top of Dixon.
And there is Power back in the game.
And Briscoe is right behind him.
Well, you said we'll find out what kind of car Castroneves has, and he's got a good one. He was not fazed by that traffic, and Tony Kanaan had trouble.
Elio won earlier this year, of course, at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. TK, not yet a winner.
And 25 to go. Now is the time. Don't just lay back there. Now is the time.
The laps are winding down here at Iowa Speedway for the finish. Stay with us.
The Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer on Versus is presented by Iowa Corn Growers. If it's good enough for Indy, it's good enough for you. On behalf of Iowa's corn growers, choose ethanol. And by Pioneer, science with service, delivering success.
We are Iowa's corn farmers, and we grow corn to make your body stronger and healthier, to make your recycled paper stronger and easier to use, to make your little artist crayons sturdy and bright, to make the United States more energy independent, to use in over 4,000 everyday products that make your life better. We are Iowa's corn farmers. We're working hard to create a better life for you.
12 summers of boat hauling, 63 miles of commuting daily. For any extreme from the road to the racetrack, nothing beats Mobil 1. The choice of over half of all NASCAR teams. So put some NASCAR in your car. Mobil 1.
Today's the day you went from dude to dad. And you want everyone you know to see. So here's your moment of truth. Which 3G network would you trust to upload your very first shots to PhotoBucket?
Hey, look.
When you want your 3G network to work,
What's your email?
you want Verizon. Come to Verizon to get great offers for Father's Day, like the LG Cosmos, the Samsung Reality, or the Gateway LT for $29.99. Only at Verizon.
We've got a great race going on here, and very few laps to go. Iowa Speedway's closest finishes. Look at that margin of victory in 2007 and in 2008. We're set up for another exciting finish, it would appear, as Tony Kanaan tries to chase down the leader, Helio Castroneves. Jack?
Jan and Robbie Buell talked about wanting to have enough overtake assist for the last few laps. But what's really interesting is Helio Castroneves was down by 2 compared to Tony Kanaan. As we ride on board in second place with Kanaan, he is trying to chase down Helio Castroneves and is now narrowed the margin to they both have, well, now he only has 13 to Helio Castroneves' 10. Basically what they can do is beyond the button the rest of the way. And they're going to have to use it to try and use it during the pit process in this lap traffic. That's where I see it's been most effective. And that's the way that Ryan Briscoe just got around his teammate, Will Power, with the OT.
4th, 5th, and 6th here. Scott Dixon, Briscoe, Power. Also there is Marco Andretti, but again, he is 5 laps down in 15th position. Marco ran well in the early going, and look at this. Kanaan was about
He's got to run.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
He was about 7/10 of a second behind just a moment ago, and look at this. He takes the lead.
He's on the overtake, guys. He used it just the way you need to.
Yep.
10 laps to go, and Tony Kanaan has taken the lead.
And there's traffic up in front of TK.
So keep in mind, Tony Kanaan can use the overtake assist for the remaining 10 laps. It will give him 10 seconds of extra horsepower for turning the racetrack in 17 seconds. You do the math.
And Ryan Briscoe and Scott Dixon are battling for position. Briscoe moves to 4th.
And remember where Briscoe was in the first stint, guys?
Yeah.
He was going backwards.
Yep.
So you never give up. You never say die.
Here comes Power, taking also position from Dixon.
Yep, Dixon slides back to 6th. Boy, the points are being jumbled in this race, aren't they? Man.
And our monitors up here that measure the overtakes just keep getting lit up with green hits.
And he has moved ahead of Castroneves by more than a second. TK is determined to turn things around here at Iowa, where he has crashed out of every single race he has been in.
Well, as he just drove down into turn 1 there, Tom Anderson, when I saw him right before I came up for the race, he says, Tony's car is fantastic as he rolls down into 1. He can be anywhere on that racetrack, and there's Tom Anderson right there who calls the strategy for Tony Kanaan.
4.5 laps to go for TK. He's finished in the top 10 in every race this year except Indianapolis, where he was 11th, but his record here at Iowa has been plain miserable. Now less than 4 laps to go.
That lap before, he ran 4/10 faster than did Helio.
Rafael Matos there in the number 2 car. He's running 14th, as now TK crosses the line with 3 more laps to go.
That is flexing some muscle. Being patient, saving it till the end, and for Michael Andretti and his whole team, if he does bring this home, this could be a big shift of momentum. They've been looking for this for a long time.
Tony Kanon's been looking for this for a long time.
The last one at Richmond in 2008, 34 races ago, and he'll come down and get the white flag. 1 more lap to go for Tony Kanaan. He has gone from the turn 2 wall. The 3 races that he has been here crashed out, but not today. He's going to victory lane. Tony Kanaan wins the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer.
Fantastic.
EJ Viso winds up in 3rd position. Briscoe and Power, Penske teammates, are 4th and 5th, and then comes Scott Dixon. Lindy, let's talk to Michael.
Michael, this must be such a weight off Tony's shoulders.
Big time, off of all of our shoulders, you know. To break the string of the red cars on the ovals, it's huge, and you know, I'm so happy for the whole 7-Eleven crew, and you know, it was great. Drove a beautiful race.
Yeah, and especially with Tony at Iowa, because he has not had good luck here.
Yeah, he's always had a problem with turn 2, but he's finally got it figured out, I think. So.
Good Father's Day for you, huh? Not so bad.
That's right. No, it's great.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks.
And Andretti now tied with Chip Ganassi with 2 wins apiece here at Iowa as they get Tony Kanaan's car positioned into victory lane. Helio Castroneves finishes 2nd, a little more than 4 seconds behind. We've got about a half hour to fill for you, and we'll talk to as many drivers as we possibly can. And of course, we'll be talking to TK, who wins here at Iowa today. Stay with us for more coverage of the IZOD IndyCar Series on Versus. The 7-11 car of Tony Kanaan rolls into victory lane, and it's again his first win since Richmond of 2008, 34 races ago. And IZOD salutes the winning performance. With IZOD victory lane, here's Robbie with TK.
And Tony Kanaan, his first win since 2008, another short track at Richmond, and the fans, I think they appreciate it just as much as you appreciate them.
It's been a long time, 2 and some years, so it had to happen in a mile oval. I mean, I got to thank my team. The guys did a great job. I want to dedicate to my son. I mean, since he was born, he's almost 3, and I haven't won a race for him yet. Today is Father's Day, so this is for Leo. He's in Brazil, but great run, man. I mean, I had a great car all day, and great battle with Helio. I mean, brought me back some good memories from back in the days and when we were 8 and 9 in go-karts.
And Dario and Dixon as well. I mean, you were up front all day. It had to feel good. Was that car everything you wanted it to be today?
Yeah, it's always, you know, it's not because we won, but we're starting 16th, so, and we passed every single car in the racetrack, so it was a very good car.
Was there ever any doubt in your mind, especially after the first 3 years here, not even finishing the race, and then qualifying not going the way you wanted to? Did you have an inkling that it might not turn out this way?
I told you not to. I said, you know, that's, the statistics are made to be changed, and records are made to be broken, so we never finished. Now we finished first when we finished.
How does this play into your outlook for the rest of the year? Because now Andretti Autosports with Ryan Hunter-Rea, a win at Long Beach, a road course. We're about to head into the road courses again.
Well, I'm looking forward, and actually, you know, I got to thank Ryan and Marco for the help this weekend. You know, I ran a little bit of Marco's setup, a little bit of Ryan's setup after qualifying. They came and talked to me for 45 minutes trying to cheer me up because I was pretty beat down for my poor qualifying, and it was totally my fault. So.
Well, congratulations on this victory. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Tony Kanaan taking the victory here, and Marco Andretti giving him some congratulations, and Michael's on the phone letting everybody know back home, Lindy Thaxton.
Number 2 and number 3 talking here, EJ Viso and Helio. We'll talk to EJ here in a second. Stand by, EJ. Helio, we just heard Tony say that really brought him back to the good old days of battling you.
That's awesome. I mean, I have to say, yes, it is disappointed for 10 laps to go. We lose a race, but
I'm happy for Tony. You know, he's been pushing every time and all the time, and it's a great big credit for his team as well. And again, my entire career, he made me better too. So today he deserved it. He seemed to have a better car, a consistent car. I was trying actually to survive out there because my left front was just gone. And I'm like, man, I mean, how many laps you said? 40? I don't think you're going to be able to make it. But great job, Team Penske. Certainly the car was good. Much better recovered from the last race. And again, we got to think big picture, you know, championship. And definitely was good on the points.
What about that contact on pit road?
That's right. I was trying to avoid Dixon coming out of the pit. And Tony was, I tried to avoid Tony as well because they're on the radio outside, and all of a sudden I got hit from the outside, I got hit from inside. I'm like, I'm in the middle, I don't have much space to go, but it did bend a little bit of the steering, the position of the steering wheel. That's why it took me a while to adjust, and then you start all over again. But great team effort with just the car, just the way we needed, and well done for good points in the championship.
Second place after that, pretty impressive. Elio Castroneves, thank you. Let's walk over to EJ Vizo, who now has his best finish. What is it about you and engineer Bill Pappas on these short ovals?
Well, it's been a while since we've been working really hard, Bill and me, and just things haven't come together till now. I mean, we've been so close on many occasions. Kansas, Texas, and Pete was hours, and just a little bolt took us out of the race. But, you know, here we are. A very smooth race for us, good pit stops, good pace in the race. Car was great. I think I did a good job with the tools inside the car. Stay out of trouble, and you know, it's all it takes to be in the podium.
Yeah, speaking of staying out of trouble, we heard them tell you watch out for those marbles. You saw what happened to Takuma, Sarah Fisher in the very same spot, and it seemed like at one point you had to save it there towards the end.
Well, many times I put the car kind of sideways. Yeah, just maybe remaining around 15 laps. I was behind Tony, and I think got a bit loose. But you know, it's what it is. It's the track getting a bit dirty with marbles, and just need to be thinking lap after lap because it keeps changing.
And EJ, did you get a little nervous there towards the end when you were starting to have to lap the traffic?
Well, I saw that as my opportunity. I thought we were, unfortunately, traffic didn't play a lot in my favor. I thought I was going to be able to overtake Elias. By the last laps, he was pretty slow. And I want to take this chance to congratulate my father. It's a Father's Day. This is a good present for you and for all the fathers.
EJ Vizo with a podium finish, Bob.
Yep, drove from 19th starting position to 3rd in the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. Tony Kanaan is in victory lane. Tony Kanaan wins the race here at Iowa Speedway. However, Ryan Briscoe wins the pit performer of the day, the Firestone pit performer. Total time in the pit area, 1 minute 24.789 seconds. Jack Arud is standing by with Dario.
Well, Dario, you looked like you were in the perfect position, and then next thing we know, the car just ends up stopping. What was the final analysis?
Shift to 5th gear and got nothing, and that was it. So the guys had to change the gear stack, which was a real shame because I felt the target car was great today, and you never know what's going to happen at the end of these races. But I felt I was best in traffic, and I could, you know, I was happy with my position. I knew I had a plan, but didn't come to pass, unfortunately.
Let's talk a little bit about the track conditions. It seems as if maybe the new wing configuration, the overtake, really contributed to a record-setting number of lead changes, and yet there was also an awful lot of marbles, but not what we're used to in terms of just being on the high side.
There were marbles everywhere today. Up high, in the middle of the track, down on the yellow line, across the warm-up lanes. That was pretty horrible. That was a big problem. But yeah, the configuration of the car really allowed us to race. I was with Tony, with Dixie, with Elio, particularly Tony and Scott. We raced inches apart and sometimes less than that, just corner after corner. We were sliding around too. It wasn't just easy. We were getting a little bit loose sometimes, and in traffic, splitting guys 3 wide. It was a fun race, but unfortunately, when you have what we felt was a winning car to end up 18th or whatever is disappointing. But same point, if it wasn't me today, I'm glad to see my little buddy TK won. It's been a while.
Your little buddy?
Yeah. He's shorter than I am.
Okay. Let's talk for a moment, though, because I know you and Kelby Cross were very concerned where you were now in the point standings, et cetera. People tend to forget at this point in the year that there's also the Indy 500, and then there's the chase for the IZOD IndyCar Cup.
Yeah, we have 2 goals. Chip told us that at the start of the year. He told us at the start of last year, too. Win the Indianapolis 500 and then go for the championship. And we got the first one out of the way, but yeah, each point counts here, and it comes down to the last corner, the last lap, as we've seen the past number of years, and this year's going to be no different, so we can't afford to be giving points away, but there's nothing we can do. No one's mistake today, just one of those things.
And Lindy, that's why the car, they tried to put it back out there with a new gear stack to get a couple of more points, even if they were only a handful.
Thank you, Jack. Every point counts. And Ryan Briscoe, you finished 4th, but you won the Firestone pit performance. Not too bad.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's my guys. That's my crew. And we missed Jamie. He usually does my left rear. His wife is having a baby today or sometime this weekend, so congrats to him. But Johnny fill in for him. He did a great job today, and I think I gained positions every pit stop today, so that really helped, because at the start of the race we kept dropping back, and the car was loose and it was so difficult to drive, and we just kept on working on it all day long, and the guys kept gaining me positions in the pits, and the car was the best it had been all day in that last stint. We were able to move up to 4th, so today 4th place feels like a win for me.
Yeah, I heard you say I feared for my life a couple times out there.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. You know, it's not nice at 180 mile an hour when you're going sideways. Felt like I should have been in Knoxville up the road here in a sprint car, but it was a great day for us. Would have loved to have had a car to win with, but to come away with 4th is great.
Ryan Briscoe, thank you. And Bob, let's take a look at those points.
Yeah, we mentioned during the race that the points were going to be jumbled, and 6 of the top 10 suffered either a gain or a loss. Will Power moves up 1 and takes the points lead again. Dixon up 2. Dario was the driver who suffered the most damage, so to speak, here this afternoon, down 2. Elio and Briscoe stayed the same. TK moves up 1. Ryan Hunter-Ray, Justin Wilson down. Marco Andretti and Dan Weldon round out the top 10. Let's talk to Will Power.
It just goes to show you, even though it's a cliche, consistency wins championships. This 5th place is your best oval performance of the year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've been in better positions in previous runs. We just haven't had the luck. But, yeah, really happy with 5th. Finished out both of the Ganassi cars and Verizon cars back in the lead of the championship.
We saw you up front battling for position, but then the car kind of went away. How did it go away? What was it doing?
Yeah, it was just so loose on the beginning of stints. And even when I had pushing, it was loose. So, yeah, I had a couple of big moments there, and also moments with back markers, but good experience for when I come back next year.
What do you think about this track, especially running in traffic like that with Dario? I mean, he was pushing you from the get-go.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'd known I could run the high line earlier, I would have, and I think that would have helped out. But, you know, for me, I'm learning this year on the ovals, and I'll come back stronger next time. But the key is to keep finishing the top 5.
Talk to me about traffic here as well. That plays a big part, doesn't it, on these tight ovals?
It does. You gotta read some of these people pretty well.
Namely?
Sometimes it doesn't matter. They just do whatever they want. But, yeah, it's definitely some close calls out there.
Congratulations, Will Power. The best finish of the year on the ovals for him, a 5th place, and he is the IZOD IndyCar Series points leader.
Yep, back into the points lead. Well, Tony Kanaan is in victory lane. It is the team here that helped him get to where he is today, and it's a 36th IZOD IndyCar Series win for Andretti Autosport. That moves him into a tie for 2nd with Ganassi, and 3 behind the Roger Penske team. Stay with us for more from Iowa.
The 7-Eleven machine of Tony Kanaan up against the turn 3 wall.
Oh, that's right. By 3rd place. And Tony Kanaan goes into the turn 2 wall.
We've got a problem in turn number 2.
Tony Kanaan has crashed for the 3rd year in a row.
For the first time in 2 years, Tony Kanaan has the 7-Eleven car back in victory lane in the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Forget the last 3 years. It is victory lane today for Tony Kanaan. A great race, and there were a total of 7 leaders and 16 lead changes, a new record. The average speed of the race, 131.2. Tony Kanaan led 62 laps of this race, breaking his streak of not leading a lap in many, many races. So there you go. He's the winner. Scott Dixon ended up in 6th position.
And Bob, a couple hours ago, we didn't know if you were going to be racing, Scott. What ended up being the problem? And I guess you really can't say enough about your crew.
No, definitely a huge credit to the Target crew for getting the car ready. You know, we had a bit of a leak. I think it was for the fuel pump seal or something, so they had to split the engine away from the car with about 30 minutes to the race. So, you know, luckily they got out with about 5 minutes before start their engines. And but it was a tough day, you know, for us. We obviously having the problem to start with, but then, you know, once we hit about 40 laps on a set of tires, the left front totally went to cords, and we had to kind of nurse it the rest of the way. So it was a tough one.
Well, you are now second in points.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. You know, we've had one win this year, and the rest of the races have been pretty average, actually. So, you know, second and third, I think, for Team Target. Darius slipped back a little bit there with his problem, but, you know, we're still in the hunt. That's the main thing, and try and get some points in the next few road courses.
And this is your first Father's Day, right?
It is, yeah, and Poppy's here, too.
You light up when you talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and it's definitely been, she's almost won, too. July 1st, she's going to be won, so it's definitely blowing by, but it's been a lot of fun.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm with Vitor Meira, who had a great finish today, finishing in 7th place. I say great because I remember hearing you after practice. The car was bottoming, then you crashed into the wall. I mean, it did not start out the way you wanted it.
No, I mean, even though the car was okay, we crashed it a little bit before qualifying, which is never real comfortable having to go flat in turn 1 and 2 after having a car fixed. But the AJ Foy ABC team did a good job. We unloaded reasonably good and made big improvements towards the weekend, and it was a hard race. So.
Just outside the top 10 in overall points. I believe you're in 12th, but kind of going the right direction. 10th in Texas. We saw that 3rd in Brazil.
We were just talking about that. We've been having competitive cars since Long Beach. Indianapolis was competitive. Besides the result, the car was very good, and we had good car in Kansas and Texas top 10, Kansas top 10. So we're making good improvements, and that's what it takes. You can't improve from one day to the other. You got to improve little by little every race, and that's what ABC Supply and AJ Foyt is doing.
Your mental direction now that you're heading toward the road and street courses, how does that change, or is it the same thing you do on the ovals? You train different. Do you think different when you hit the roads?
Yeah, when you hit the roads, you definitely think differently. It's much more, the race driving-wise is much more aggressive. You run 10/10s all the time. Oval, you have to step back a little bit for some laps and go full on other laps. So. Again, we had our best result on road course this year, so I'm excited to hit the road course part again.
Trying to take that 3rd out of Brazil and maybe bump it up to 2nd or 1st, but a tremendous finish today. Finished in 7th place today.
His 2nd consecutive top 10 finish for Vitor Meira. We'll talk to Ryan Hunter-Reay when we come back. Tony Kanaan has won the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer here at Iowa Speedway.
Don't miss any of the heart-pounding action when IndyCar returns to Versus from the Fast Track of Edmonton. Sunday, July 25th at 5.
The Iowa fans who defied the forecast had a great start, and everyone looked great in turn 1 and turn 2. Unfortunately, not the case in turn 3. Justin Wilson all on his own. The car steps out, and poor Mario Moraes, a heavy hit into the safer barrier. Both were okay. Lap 34, Will Power, who had been powerful at the beginning of the race, started to run into some handling difficulties. Marco Andretti flies on by. It made for a tough early afternoon for Power. Lap 44, not the case for Marco Andretti, who thought he was racy. Then his handling started to go off as Dario Franchitti took the point, but then on pit road. So critical how you get your pit stops done and get out. It's 3 wide. Castroneves tries to thread the needle and makes the contact with Dixon. His steering wheel wasn't straight, but he persevered. Takuma Sato was persevering until aerodynamic wash. Look out, the car won't turn. Powie into the wall after running in 3rd spot for KV Racing. He said, a good lesson learned. Helio Castroneves on the button and with speed, but with some help, unfortunately, from an ailing Dario Franchitti gearbox, took the lead. But Tony Kanaan could answer because he saved his overtake assist, got to the low side, and when Tony Kanaan gets by Castroneves, see ya, he had saved the muscle for the end of the race, and he gets the monkey off his back after consecutive crashes here, takes it to victory lane.
By by 4.2 seconds as we take a look at the finish here. It's E.J. Viso's best career finish. Vitor Meira had his second consecutive top 10. Hunter Ray finishes 8th or better on the ovals this year. Danica, her 3rd consecutive top 10 finish. And Graham Rahal equaled his best finish of the season. There you can see some of the others. Dan Weldon, the former winner here, got 11th. And Takuma Sato, as Jan documented, crashed out of the race, and so did many of the others listed here. All right, down to Lindy, who's with Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Ryan just finishing up a quick chat with Michael Andretti. And Ryan Hunter-Ray, we weren't even sure we were going to see you here this week, and here you are, 8th place.
I know, it's unreal. I was thinking that same thing halfway through the race. I'm thinking, man, I might not have been here this year, or this for this race, and here we are running 3rd. But first of all, happy Father's Day to Dad, and we had a great race going for the Ethanol USA Team IZOD car. It was awesome. That's what oval racing is supposed to be. You know, you're driving, you're lifting, you're having to really work the wheel and work the pedals, and it was physical. It was a lot of fun. I'm so happy for Tony. I mean, that was so close. You make a mistake by a foot, as I did in the pit lane, hit his tire, and we got black flagged. I'm glad that he was able to recover from it, but we had to come in under green, so that threw our race away. But man, it's so much fun racing these Andretti Autosport cars. You know?
With that incident in the pits, do you feel like you really dodged one for you and him? I know you guys are close friends.
It's always close in the pits. I mean, people don't realize how close it is. It is a matter of inches everywhere. So you're diving in at 60 miles an hour and trying to get it in between, you know, 4 bodies sitting there, and it's really tough. But I was really working on my ends this weekend, and we were really trying to get them better, and I just came in a little too hot. But as I said, I'm glad Tony recovered from it. Congratulations to 7-Eleven and the whole crew. We ran well for Ethanol this weekend. We showed that we're fighters. We'll always be up front. We'll always be there fighting. And hey, I just hope I get to go to Watkins Glen and go back to a track where I've won at before.
So as of this, you don't know yet?
No, I have no idea. I probably won't know till Wednesday. They'll tell me, hey, go book a plane ticket. Wow. So it'll probably be last minute, but you know, I'll be happy to show up and race with these guys again, because I'm having a really good time here. Unfortunate, we were almost right there with Tony today.
And we love watching you, Ryan. Thank you very much. Ryan Hunter-Ray with an 8th place finish.
And the hammer, Graham Rahal, comes up. I know I hit you with it, but 17th to 9th. You pleased with that result?
Yeah, I think it was a great day for the Dads guys. I mean, you know, we kind of went front to back. We had some radio issues. That's why we got off sequence. We didn't purposely mean to do that, but we got off, and we recovered really well. I mean, the car was very fast all day. I used the high line pretty well all day, and it was really good. Got by a lot of guys. I should have gotten by Hunter-Ray there at the end, but just didn't have enough laps.
What about this team? It's the 3rd different team we've seen you in the car. We were joking. You're going to be in 3 different positions in the overall at the end of the year. Are we going to see you at Watkins Glen in the Dad's car or one of the other dry and round bold machines?
I hope so. I hope so. I really do. No, I've enjoyed my time here, and Dennis, Robbie, and the entire organization, the guys have been great and very helpful. And obviously we've gone through our ups and downs this weekend. Luckily we ended on a high, but you know, I hope that there's many more to come from here. But as of right now, this is the only one I've heard about.
Well, this is the last oval for him for now. Hopefully we'll see Graham Rahal at the next stop at Watkins Glen. Jackaroo.
For the previous 3 years, Tony Kanaan found himself in a DNF situation. But this year, as he said in Victory Lane, records are made to be broken. Things are made to be changed. Let's take a look at this pit stop. We've seen it so many times. Helio Castroneves connecting there with Scott Dixon. But take a look at the green car directly in front. Look how close Tony Kanaan avoids being punted by Helio Castroneves. I think that's what TK meant when the last 3 years, that's ancient history. Now he wishes his son Leo a very happy Father's Day with his first victory, guys, since Leo was born.
Yeah, it was a good race, and Robbie, you mentioned it before the race started, how it's a short track, but it races like a super speedway, and it did.
And it was great racing, and we heard from Ryan Hunter-Ray. He said the drivers love this. You have to work the the adjustments in the car. You got to get on and off the gas. You're always adjusting your wheels, so it's really fun for these drivers. And how about TK? I mean, you know, they're at the end of the race, you know, when there's about 5 laps to go, you know, somebody's saying in my ear, well, boy, he's had some bad luck here. I just kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to say anything until that checkered flag dropped.
That's because you picked him, which was a very nice thing. But down the road here, think about the schedule. The road course is coming up. Street course is a great opportunity for teams other than Andretti Autosport and Target Chip Ganassi Racing to make points, and the points are wide open.
Yeah, they sure are. And of course, then we will have 4 consecutive ovals to end the season. But for today, it was a record-setting day in terms of lead changes as Tony Kanaan took the 7-Eleven car to victory. Several others having their best finish of the season here at Iowa Speedway. Now it's on to the road courses, and we will be back with you on July the 25th, but it's always great to come to Iowa Speedway. Great hospitality. Rusty Wallace, of course, helped build this track, and they built a great track for the IZOD IndyCar Series. Well, coming up next, the Tour de France in the Pyrenees. IndyCar returns to Versus Sunday, July 25th at 5 o'clock Eastern for the Edmonton Indy. IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. For more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, log on to Versus.com. Congratulations to Tony Kanaan, winner of the Iowa Corn Indy 250, presented by Pioneer. For Jan Beekes, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute, Robbie Floyd, and Lindy Thaxton, I'm Bob James.